What's up, everybody? Dear Jonhson here, live as promised. I promised not too long ago that I'm going to do a special live that's going to be quite long. Going to be straight up honest with you. But I should have a little bit more listeners now because, are you listening? I'm 3 and 5 years ahead of every single facet of everything that's going on right now. There's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. Right? So, this week, some things happened, right, in the entertainment world that finally got some Americans and all their drama-loving hamsters in their whatever they have in this space up here rolling. All right, so as promised, I told you that I'm going to do a special, and I'm going to tie in I'll get my notes right here, 22 pages of these little babies right here. So it's not a full notepad, so don't freak out. But naturally, a lot of you are already clicking off because you can't handle the truth, you can't handle reality. All right, and I'm not George Strait, so there's that. But I'm going to tie in the money, how the money of country music, the most wholesome genre there was for many, many years. I'm going to tie in President Trump's follow the money quote. I'm going to tie in everything and how country music ain't your mom and daddy's country music. I'm going to tie it in. I'm going to show you how you're a hypocrite. If you continue to take up and defend big-name country artists, or you try to separate some of those that have been on major record labels, I'm going to show you how you are a hypocrite. If after this video, this podcast, you still support country music without taking action, which there's a way to take action if you'll listen, you're a hypocrite. And if you are someone who claims to be a patriot on the President Trump side of things and a country music fan, it really applies to you. There's no way you can support the two whatsoever. Now, someone like me, I got in the system, beat the system, and came out of it, which I was not compromised. I didn't sign a deal with the devil. But I'm going to show you what the deal with the devil looks like and how most of the artists that you're following and you're listening to, they signed that deal with the devil. So I'm going to read from my notes a lot to keep me on point and keep me concise and precise as possible without rambling too much, because I've been sitting on my deer stand the last week making sure that, I made this probably about 4 or 5 different times, went through, made sure that it was in a chronological order. But, you know, what I've witnessed before all of the Kid Rock drama and all of the other drama out there, what I've noticed is when I talk about country music, 75% of the viewership goes away. So hopefully, after this week of you seeing some names that you know allude to a few things, now you'll know that I'm right, and I'm not right because I'm right. I'm not correct just because I'm correct. I'm correct because we're in an operation. And some of us were put here for certain reasons. So, again, I'm going to outline how country music and the DC swamp correlate and tie in the money and the control. So you got to listen for principles. I'll notice, I see things all the time, and my team sees it. You know, if I posted a post that said, I planted some pumpkins this week, and a couple of them were red, people in the comment boxes be like, I don't like pumpkins, and pumpkins are this. And well, what about tomatoes? You don't even comment on the red pumpkin, right? You don't listen. People don't listen. You hear what you want to hear, and or you keep what you think is your opinion that you've had all these years. And 9.999999999% out of all of you are wrong. You don't know anything about the country music industry. And then there's people out there that you've heard things through the years, and it's couldn't be any more wrong. So let me reintroduce myself for those that might not know me, but also for those that may be new watching, and then the new viewers that come on after this, because there's always a few. You know, I'm the first country music artist and a songwriter in country music history with Billboard hits on the country airplay, which is the biggest genre in all of country music. It's the biggest chart in the whole genre. It's the only one that major record labels care about. They don't give a dang about your downloads. That has nothing to do with anything. I went up that chart independently with peanuts compared to millions. Got Billboard hits, learned every intricate detail of how it all works, and it is not about talent whatsoever. It's not about talent. It's not about music. It's not about the song. It's not about you. It's not about your feelings. It's not about your emotions. It's about money for them and control. And so many of you country music fans, you cannot seem to understand right now is a operation. You're not going to be without music the rest of your life. But right now you need to sacrifice just a little bit and boycott and learn who the companies are, learn who the people are that's been in control, the ones still in control, as this was not a priority as trafficking was. They're just now getting the entertainment. That's why all this stuff's hitting the fan right now. But who's been talking about it the whole time? So you could know, but you don't want to. Most of you want your own truth. And again, wrong. So my grandfather and Hank Williams Sr. were roommates in Mobile, Alabama in 1943. Long before Hank Williams was ever known to anyone. My grandpa played guitar. My grandpa already played on tour. He was a guitar player. Back during that time period. Back during that time period, it didn't look anything remotely close to right now. And it didn't look anything remotely close to right now until like the 90s. That's why so many people don't even know the history of country music. So my grandfather played guitar and he played with a bunch of other different artists out there. Then he had a Southern gospel group in the 50s and completely left country music with Southern gospel, which was a huge genre back in that era. So I learned country music there. I learned all the stories. And when I was growing up, you only had two options to know who the artists were. Country Weekly and Country Music Magazine. And you flip to the back and you'd see the Billboard chart. As a kid, though, I studied who were on the albums, who were the producers, and who were the songwriters. That's how I got in Nashville, was on that side of things. The guys that no one knows. The guys and gals that no one knows. But you should. That's the biggest portion. Everything has been so flipped. And we're going to do that tonight. We're going to talk about it. So, I got in and I worked on the business side of things first. Booking, production, marketing. And then I got in and got to represent 11 number one hit songwriters under my belt at one time. I pitched their catalogs to multiple producers and artists that I knew via them. They trusted me with their name that they had earned and built all those years. 11 number one hit songwriters. And a lot of them have multiple number one hits. Big guys. Then, through the run-of-the-mill process, going out, leaving, coming back to Nashville, all that good stuff, recorded my first album. My first album, 6 songs, which was, they call them an EP, My first 6 songs I didn't write. We had to come out the gate swinging hard. I had a hit producer, #1 hit producer, and a #1 hit songwriter, both. He's a producer and a songwriter. We had to come out the gate swinging hard. Big names, big name writers, and musicians on my record. That's how it works. That's how the intricacies work. And I'm going to break all this down. And back then, I got nothing but, oh, you know, you're too traditional, you're too cowboy, you're too country. And this wasn't that long ago. This is 2016. You're too country. So we're going to get to the comment in a minute where fans go, oh, real country music's coming back. It never went away. You and your IQ and your control, that's the problem. So what my team did on the Billboard chart was an insider record. Meaning it's only going to mean something to the people on the inside if they even gave a dang, which they didn't because of why? I know too much. I also will not be controlled. I will not be bought. And I know too much. I know too much. I wouldn't sign a deal with the devil. That's why I got all these runarounds and dumb comments from executives that I've been knowing. So it would only mean something to them. You, the fan out there, are not going to know about it because you can't even name someone who was signed just 10 years ago that had a major record label. So it's a big deal that I did this independently, set this record on the inside, and I'm the first ever to write a book. It's a #1 bestseller, The Royal Flush of Country Music. Right here, got it with me. Well, I'm the first ever to do that, but also here's what people are seeming to not hear on my podcast. And I'll just say it again lightly. Not one out of all of the male and female artists and songwriters who's ever moved to Nashville, not one single male or female in all of these years did they ever get in, go up the Billboard chart, work with major artists, producers, songwriters, executives, labels, have Billboard hits, and then blow up on social media after not receiving a record deal or a publishing deal. I'm the only one who's this has ever happened to, where I go in there and work, get the Billboard hits, get all the things you're supposed to do in country music, but never got a record deal. And then my social media blew up. So guess what I have? I have every secret known to man to how the whole system works, from very bottom all the way to the very top. And I'm the first to ever put that out there. Ricky Van Shelton didn't do it. David Lee Murphy didn't do it. James House didn't do it. There's a lot of people I can see. Paul Brandt, Rich Trevino, Wade Hayes, all these guys who were signed who abruptly lost their record deal. And then you, the fan, go, oh, what happened to so-and-so? They're not good anymore. You're a moron. You're a fool and a moron. And there's no other way to slice the pie. You're either a fool, which is the lighter version, actually, or you're a moron. If you want to keep saying foolish and dumb and ignorant things. You don't just all of a sudden become terrible. If you can sing, you're a singer. If you're a writer, you're a writer. That stuff don't go away. So all of a sudden do these people just, boop, just fall off the face of the earth? Now, I have people out there say, I can't prove, where are you on Billboard? I went to Google and I've tried to Google it. I have explained this over and over and over. There's another person who don't listen. If you're that person, you don't listen. You don't freaking listen. Billboard is part of the secret. All right, it's a chart and it's separate. They're based out of New York. Nothing to do with Nashville solely, but that's the chart they use. It's a system, whole different system. All right, they didn't publish that. They don't even publish it now. You got to subscribe to see the chart. But they only published top 20 for a long time, so you wouldn't see anyone at number 21, number 22, number 23, 25. That's pretty bad and sad for anybody who got into top 30, which is hard. There's a double portion of the charts, got 60 slots on it. But getting into top 30 is a big deal, bigger deal. So you're not going to Google that. If you're a country music fan and you don't know who Sammy Kershaw is, you're not a country music fan. Plain and simple. So if you go to Facebook and you type in Sammy Kershaw, find Sammy Kershaw's blue check page, and click on photos and scroll down to 2020, you'll see where he posted the Billboard chart. And at that time, he was the oldest artist in country music history to chart on the Billboard. And did he get any kind of publicity for that? No. So that shows you fans, you don't care. You don't care. You don't care about the person. At the end of the day, it's just quick, quick, quick. Quantity, quantity, quantity. And you think I give a dang? I don't. Because I left Nashville. I don't need Nashville. If it's truly about music, then you would listen to music for music. But Sammy Kershaw has it posted. Click on it. Zoom in on it. This is what I'm talking about too while we're here. And I've got a lot of notes to get through. But while we're here, something as simple as that. I'll post a freaking video. And people go, what are you trying to show us here? I'm pretty sure when I zoom in and you see this chart get bigger and you see these names, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to pause it right there and go, he's showing us something here. I mean, this is how, I want to use the word dumb. I know people are so tired of being called dumb. But this is how dumb people are. So you're not a fan of a true underdog. I've been trashed by fans out there. I've been trashed. Your song suck, and I'm going to get on to all that in a minute. But you're not a fan of a true underdog. You're not a fan of an iconoclast, and you probably don't even know what that definition is of an iconoclast. But you're not a fan of a true underdog. A true underdog is someone you've never heard of, but they have all the goods, and then, boop. So you're not a fan of that. And then also what I've done is help all unsigned artists and unsigned songwriters to know, hey, you're wasting your time moving to Nashville unless, while they're still open and they're not being drained yet, unless you want to sign a deal with the devil, and if you're that person and you want to be controlled like a little puppet, not told what to wear, all that stuff's already gone, but the other portion, then go right on ahead, you might get there. But see, what country music fans, y'all do, you look at the lottery winners. You're not looking at all the ones who play the lottery. You only look at the lottery winners. And then no one else out of all the lottery players has ever told you how the lottery works. But I'm telling you right now, not only is the lottery bad gambling-wise, but it's a rigged system. And what you support, you are what you support. And if you continue to support country music after this until it's all cleaned out, apply the H word that you are. So, I'm going to read these forms of government here that you all are, and I'm going to read the definitions of them while I got them here. This is exactly how country music and the deep state ties in. So you're going to want to pause this video and listen to these again or rewind it when you get to this portion. And listen, this is exactly what the country music system is. I'm going to read them to you. Inverted totalitarianism. Coined by political philosopher Sheldon Wolin, this describes a system where the government isn't seized by a dictator, but rather corporate interest and bureaucracy. How it works. Unlike classical totalitarianism, where a leader demands loyalty via fear, inverted totalitarianism keeps the population passive through consumerism, endless entertainment, and a political system where major parties serve the same economic masters. The psychological effect. People feel free because they can choose between 50 brands of cereal and have 2 political candidates, but they have no actual influence over the core policy. Woo! Y'all's asses just got roasted. The other form, soft authoritarianism. This describes regimes that avoid the blood and iron tactics of the 20th century. Instead of using secret police to arrest everyone, they use nudges. How it works, the government uses the choice architecture. They make it incredibly easy to comply with the state's wishes and incredibly difficult or socially shameful to dissent, which is what most of you have done to me on this particular topic. You don't want to hear about it. Then the psychological effect. You feel you're choosing your path, but the default path is designed to lead you exactly where the state wants you to go. Ooh, y'all's asses are on fire. Managed democracy. Here's the last one. A managed democracy. This is the most direct political application of illusion of choice, which I'm going to outline in a minute. In a managed democracy, the government holds regular elections, has a constitution, and maintains the appearance of a republic. How it works. The state uses soft power to control the outcome before anyone even votes. Oh. Woo. Boy, y'all are sitting on a big ball of fire right now. How do you know about major record label artists? You're already supporting them before you don't even know where they came from. The psychological effect. Citizens feel they have participated in a democratic process which reduces the likelihood of a revolt, even though the winner has been decided long before the polls opened. So they use a election example, but I can show you how it ties in because, again, all of you fans out there, you prove these 3 things. You have 0 education in the system. You have 0 principles when told by the first person who's ever done this in history. So no, you're not going to know about the industry. But when you're in the comment boxes with your little opinions, especially the snarky ones and little emojis, then you prove you're not listening to the principle. You still want your opinion. You still want your voice and your little... Your opinion ain't worth anything if it don't have a solution with it. And how can you have a solution if you don't even know how the system works? And then 3, hypocrisy and control. That's what you all prove as fans. Hypocrisy and control. Now we're going to get to even the more fun parts. Throughout my last 10 years of being an artist and songwriter that's had Billboard hits, known to the true fans out there, which is very few, but this is what me and my team have experienced the last 10 years. These are all the comments I've heard. Never heard of you before. What the F does this guy, who the F does this guy think he is? Never heard of your music. You're just jealous. You're a sore loser. Your music is trash. Why aren't you on CMT then? Why aren't you on The Voice or American Idol? Real country music is coming back. And that's on something else, not towards me. Nobody listens to radio anymore. Well, my cousin lived in Nashville and he said this. I've heard those a million times, and I've heard other comments that they ain't even worthy of even commenting, because it would be a bunch of expletives. My biggest question, why y'all so mad? Why you mad, bro? Yeah, that old slang saying, why you mad? Are you mad because you hate finding out you have 0 principles and you're a hypocrite and you're controlled? Is that why you mad? Because that's what you are. Every single one of you, you're a country music fan right now, you're a hypocrite and you're controlled. Now, you know, you can change your ways, and I won't call you a hypocrite anymore. So when you go back to those three definitions of what's already picked for you, your buffet is already picked for you. So it's not really a buffet. It's the illusion that it is. It's not a buffet, though. You're told this is your choice. This is what you're going to eat. Well, I don't like broccoli. Well, you're going to eat that. It's right there. That's all you got. So how is it that all of these quote-unquote fans have those comments towards a guy who actually has Billboard hits, same system, same chart, same everything, but I've never heard of your music before? How come none of these fans, how come you fans, you can't name one single major record label? 9 out of 10 fans can't even name a record label. You can't name a publishing company. You can't name a songwriter. You think every artist writes their own songs, and they don't. 99% of Billboard artists do not write any of their music. So how come fans can't even name a major record label or a publishing company? Control. But those same fans, and if it's you, guess what you do? You share every single thing on Facebook and social media. If it's got a share button, you're sharing everything by top 20 on the same Billboard chart that I've been on. Same Billboard chart. You'll share everything. And when it's one of them, oh, they had the record Billboard hits this year, it's all over your page. But when I was on the Billboard chart, 3 to 5 shares. 3, 2, 5. 5 tops shares is what I was getting with 12,000 followers at the time, which is not a lot. 5 shares for being on the same chart as an underdog. 5 shares. You're hypocrites. You know nothing about the labels. You know nothing about the publishers. You know nothing about the process. You know nothing, and you support it. So how do you know to keep sharing Billboard top 20 artists? How do you know that? Why would you support something you don't even know about? See, Billboard, and we're going to get to this in a minute, but Billboard radio is the system. So the other big comment that I left off that I used to hear all the time. We don't care about the chart, Derek Jonhson. We just love great music. Now listen to that. That's an oxymoron. It's a double standard. It's everything. Hypocrite, control, it's everything. All in that one comment. We don't care about the chart. We care about great music. We love great music. Of a buffet of artists by major record labels you cannot name, publishers you cannot name, songwriters you don't even know exist, you're told what artists you're going to listen to. Now go back and read those definitions again. Go back and listen to them again. You're told, here's the artists you're going to support. You're not given any other options. So it's great music because it's supposed to be great music. But you got to separate the terminology here. We're not talking about the artist individually. We're not talking about the music. We're talking about the process. This is why people struggle, because you can't hear terminology. You'll hear me talk about Jelly Roll. Oh, you're talking about how dare you? And I'm like, listen to the principle of what I'm talking about. Remove who it is for a moment and listen to the principle, or whoever I'm going to name. And I'm going to get on some tonight, but listen to the principle behind it. It's great music because it's supposed to be great. You wouldn't listen to it if it didn't sound good. If the music wasn't good. You already don't do that to some of your friends out there who have decent music. You don't even listen to them. Oh no, your playlist is nothing but top 20. So you don't even listen to decent music. You don't even know that there are artists out there who have had success like me, even on the biggest chart out there. But there's some who haven't been on Billboard that's been on Texas radio, Texas country, Texas regional. All right, it's been on some others out there. The Music Road Breakout chart, which is a waste of money for young artists, but because it's there, there's a lot of music you're missing out on because of your ignorance, because of your ego, and because of your freaking piss poor attitudes over something. You're mad over something you know nothing about. And it's music. So if music is universal, and if it's all about the song, why are you mad? So, again, fans can't even name the major record labels, can't even name the publishers. You share all the top 20, but when I share something, so the real country, they've been saying things like this. They say that, I've heard fans recently with the Zach Top stuff, said that real country's coming back. It's making a comeback. Real country's coming back. It never went anywhere. The industry did. See, and if you would seek to study the industry, you know that, no, they're playing with you. That's the game they play. They divert and they go real pop. They did this in the 70s. Would you believe they called Conway Twitty? They called him, they said Conway Twitty was not country. Eddie Raven. See, I'm naming names that you fans, you think you are country music fans. You ain't country music fan whatsoever. Eddie Raven. And then the urban cowboy thing. They told George Strait to take his hat off in the 80s. Oh, you're too cowboy. See the games they play? Same Billboard. The Billboard's been there since the 1940s. Same Billboard. It's a game they play with you. Now, it wasn't as bad back then. Wasn't as bad. It was still more wholesome, more about country life, country living, family, God, faith, the farm, etc. But, no. They've been playing this game a long time. They'll divert, make it go real pop, and then you'll get tired of that. Then they'll throw a good song out there, and you're going, oh, oh. And I'm over here going, if you just knew what great lyrics were, poetry, lyrics, and music, if you go back to what the greatest generation was, the 90s of country music, if you go back to the steel guitar, the fiddle, and then listen to the music, you'd realize, no, there's a few of us out there that's got the same country music. So because I'm not on a major record label, because your friend didn't tell you to listen to me, or however it was that you got the buffet given to you, so fans, here's what you're doing. When you trash me, and you cuss me and getting all mad, I mean, think about it. You're cussing and mad over music. I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with love and music. When you're so mad that you make music a competition, but then you take it one step further and you're trashing somebody, especially a retired veteran, an underdog who beat a big bad system, I don't think that's how it works. But here's what you fans are doing. You're defending artists who will never know you. They'll never respond to you via social media. They never look at their social media, first off. They never look at their inboxes. They never look at their posts. They don't do that. They got interns at major record labels running all that for them. Yeah, they'll do a video here and there because they have to. They're told to. That's part of the game. But they don't look and go live like I do with you at the spur of a moment, when I want to, when I want to. They never do that. That's their game they play. They don't run their social media. They're made to do publicity stunts. They create controversy and division. And then, hey, 50% may not, quote unquote, like them anymore, but the other 50 that do, all the way to the bank. It's a game they play. So anytime you're in the comment boxes and you're taking up for Beyonce and you're trashing Morgan Wallen or you're taking up for Morgan Wallen and you're trashing Beyonce, that's what they want you to do. You're a guinea pig, you're captured, you're controlled. You're their syndicated audience because you're ignorant and you're a hypocrite because you don't want to know the system. Then they make you inferior to them. Now, anybody who's met me, and there's a lot of people watching who have met me, they can attest that I may sound like Big Bad Wolf sometimes on here because I'm direct and I'm straightforward and I'm getting paused on Instagram. So, I don't know what that's about. Let me see if it comes back real quick. Not sure what's up with that, but I would love for it to stay on Instagram, but it don't look like it's going to come back. So I'll just keep rolling. But the people who have met me knows that I'm a genuine person. These people make you inferior to them. First off, you're never going to meet them unless you're at a meet and greet. You're never going to meet them unless you're at a meet and greet or some established event as such. Occasionally you'll run into someone at an airport or something like that, but the odds of that, it's not there. So they make you inferior to them. And a lot of times if you do run into these major record label artists at an airport or something like that, guess what happens? If you have the nerve to go up to them, some will briefly, but that's all you're ever going to get. That's it. Snapshot. That's it. They're not going to see you in their inbox. They're not going to see you in the comment boxes. That's it. They keep you in the inferiority complex. You're there, and you're stuck there. But then what you do is you just keep supporting them. So again, if music is universal and you say I love music, then it should be about talent. It should be about authenticity, writing skills. Now, not all are going to write, but the first person you should take right out the gate is an artist who can write their own music. You start with the cream of the crop. You don't go to the bottom of the barrel, but see, they got you where they want you, the fan. They don't have to have any artist that's a writer. They don't have to do any of that because they got you where they want you. And you're the one sitting there calling them talented. They're not talented. You can take any singer any given day and give them a song. Whoop-de-doo-dah. But isn't it much better to meet the guy who can write and sing the song, but especially write a song solo and it sounds just as good? Production, skills, musicians, lyrics, poetry. So all the comments out there would be kind of like this. When people don't, like when you say, like, oh, I've never heard of you before and I've never heard of your music. Well, first off, isn't that the whole freaking point? Isn't that the whole point? That you've never heard of something, you hear about it? I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I don't know. Maybe I was born last week on a pig farm in Iowa. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. But it wasn't at night. So, never heard of you. And then all the other comments by fans, and you don't know anything about it. You just keep supporting a system you know nothing about. You don't even know how long it's been there. You don't know the names. You don't know the people who run them. You don't know anything about it. So, the comments would be equivalent to this. And football is a sport that a lot of people love, so I'm going to put it in the same linear space. All right? Parallel. This would be like you going up to Joe Montana. No, that's the wrong one. Let's go to Dan Marino. Going up to Dan Marino, who played, I think it was 14 years with the Miami Dolphins. This would be like you going up to Dan Marino and saying, hey, man, you suck. You don't know anything about football. Just because, in your mind, he didn't win a Super Bowl. That would be like you, the fan, going up to any football player that didn't win a national championship or a Super Bowl and saying they don't know anything about football simply because they didn't win the biggest, grandest prize. That's how ignorant you sound when you tell a Billboard artist on the biggest chart in the whole genre, but I'm the first to ever unveil every aspect of it. No other artist has ever done what I've done. I'm in my own category. It's timestamped forever in history. This book, 2024, the longer it goes, timestamp. It's already timestamped. I'm the first ever. Most artists were scared to because there used to be a quote-unquote mafia back there that would come after you. But that mafia is actually on my side because of what the DEI, the woke, the liberals have done to country music. And I've got a lot of people backing me. So again, why are you mad? Why are you mad and defending a system of people and artists you know nothing about? So this is the other three things. Outside of your managed democracy and your inverted totalitarianism and your soft authoritarian, I'll get it right in a minute. Authoritarianism, all right? This is also what you're under. You're under the illusion of control, the illusion of choice, and it's psychological manipulation. So you should be actually pissed and mad that a genre that used to be wholesome, it used to be about country life, country living, the farm, the ranch, cowboy, country boy, cowgirl, country girl, used to be about picking peas and all these other things, right? And then it's gone nothing but polar opposite of that. You should be mad that you've been manipulated. You've been gaslit. You've been controlled. But it is what it is. So now, George Strait's a great example of someone in the old system before it changed in 1990, and it didn't change bad then, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, but 2012 is when it really took a nosedive, and I'm going to get to all these. But George Strait's a great example. He didn't write any of his songs. In the first album, he had a couple of songs, and they were like, hey, and he even recognized it. He said, I'm not a writer whatsoever. Because he was getting pitched the best of the best. And I actually knew his first producer. And not only first producer, but wrote his first #1 hit, Blake Mevis. Anyway, rest in peace, Mr. Mevis. But George didn't write any of his #1 hits. And then all of a sudden, like 2012 or 13, he started getting his son Bubba involved in writing and pulling him in with Dean Dillon, and they started writing with Dean Dillon. But Dean Dillon has way more than proven himself as a writer, multiple #1 hits. So you can bet that Dean Dillon was pulling all those lyrics and lines, the key lines especially, in those rooms. All right. So I'm not saying that you do have to be an artist that writes all your music all the time, but it does help make an argument when a guy like me can write all my music, does write all my music after that first little EP, and then I've solo written quite a few that people love and they're streaming really well, even though I hate streaming. And we'll get to those as well. But just to prove the point, to drive the point home, it's not about talent, it's about controlling you, and it's about DEI, woke, liberal, and it ties directly to the swamp. And these definitions, you're going to have to apply these definitions all along the way. But just to prove it, since 1995, only 20 artists, so I take that back, 20 songs from 7 artists. So think of all the singers that's come and gone since the 90s, especially if you think you're a country music fan, you'll know how many that's been. There's a lot you've forgotten about. I named some of them: Wade Hayes, Paul Brandt, Rich Rubino, David Lee Murphy. I got to think of some more. The Forrester Sisters, Highway 101. There's a bunch of them. Only 7 artists, 7, have written #1 hits. It's not about talent. Now I'm going to list those. Alan Jackson had 8 solo songs. Taylor Swift 5. Toby Keith 2. Riley Green is most recent with 2, and they're terrible. They're not Great lyrics at all. Anybody, I could write those on my worst day with Taco Bell in the coldest environment in the world. Terrible. Ronnie Dunn won. Clint Black won. Travis Tritt won. It's not about talent. It's about control. 1990, 2012. 1990, the Billboard went to radio. It went to where record labels and promotion teams would go to the radio stations, which they had a conglomerate on, still do, conglomerate and monopoly, meaning the radio stations are only picking up the phone to these major record labels. Then, in 2012, it changed. So from 1990, it was about how many stations you could get on. So how many, like if I was on at that time period versus George Strait, if George Strait had 100 stations and I had 98, well, he'd have a number one hit, I'd have a number two hit. That's how that worked. Then, in 2012, it changed again. It became how many stations you could get on plus how many spins per week you were getting versus that song. So, you know, if George Strait's on 100 stations and he's getting 2,500 spins a week, and I'm I got 98 stations and I'm getting 2,000 spins a week, that would be a number one and a number two. Now, it's not, it doesn't matter. It's not, you don't worry about the number. It could be any kind of number, but it's just who had the most out of that. That's why a lot of you fans out there in years past, when you were listening to radio a lot more, you were saying, oh my God, I've heard this song 10 times today. How many times can they play it again? Till it's in your head. See, that repetition? It worked. They got you. So this is why you've heard me talk about the song Murder on Music Road. This is very key. It's a song, but it's a very key song, sang by two big people. And it was very key. It wasn't about just, oh, for the steel guitars no longer cry and the fiddles barely play, but drums and rock and roll guitars are mixed up in your face. It wasn't just about the fiddle and the steel guitar being cut out of country music. No. No, it went on even further. And I'm going to break those lyrics down later. But that song, Murder on Music Road, was sang by Alan Jackson and George Strait. And they sang it at even the award shows. And it was a big deal. And Alan Jackson backed his up. Now, George Strait's always been reclusive. He's never lived in Nashville. He's always lived out west of San Antonio. He's never lived in Nashville. All right? So that's very key. And then Alan Jackson made a bigger statement on the CMAs. I think it was 98 or 99, but they were only going to give George Jones 20 seconds. Legendary George Jones, only 20 seconds on his new song. Just to show up, be there, do 20 seconds, and then you're done. Mr. Legend, Mr. Country Music, the real King George, the first King George. Oh, yes, you're only worth 20 seconds. There was your woke DEI who had already come into Nashville, was already hijacking everything. That's why all the Shania Twain and the Garth Brooks and the Global, they went global with them. Then you had a song back then called Meanwhile Back at the Ranch, and it was this real boot stomping. People loved it, but they didn't realize what they were doing with the genre. They were cutting out all the tradition, all of your country music, all your real country music. They sang that song, but Alan Jackson on the CMAs, he walked out in the middle of his song. He had his band. He did the signal that we can do, the coda, and he coded them, and they weren't expecting it. He coded them in the middle of a song that he was performing and walked off the stage. Walked straight to his bus, got on his bus, and since then, Alan Jackson didn't participate with anything else. A lot of you don't know that. And you should apply that. That is balls and that is spine. That's what they call integrity. And a lot of you don't have that. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Now, I'm not talking about people who follow me a lot, but I'm talking about you that may be new out there, or you're just a country music fan and someone shared this with you. You have no balls and you have no spine. You have no integrity whatsoever. Because if you did, you would follow suit with the crooners and the real big dogs of country music who were telling you the whole time, hey, you're going to lose this. It's going down the drain. and you lost it. But a lot of you still captured and controlled. So follow the money. Follow the money that President Trump talked about. Follow the money. The very first thing he came out the gate with in 2017, follow the money. They're all tied in. All the major record labels. Sony's in Japan. All right. So all the major record labels, they're all tied in to all your big outfits. Then you have ABC, ESPN, and Disney all owned together. What do you hear when you see on ESPN? What do you see on there? You'll see who? Major label artists. They're all tied in. It's all tied in. Follow the money. Well, we're going to get to a key thing about where the quote where people say, I don't listen to radio anymore. It doesn't matter. Radio is where the sponsors are. Guess what the sponsors do? They pay for everything. It all ties in together. So everything all ties in. That's why you'll hear on the radio stuff like giveaways. Hey, call in to get your free tickets. No, they're not free. Sponsor paid for that. The advertisements, the advertising cost. That's why when you hear an artist out there, oh, so-and-so donated $400,000 to this. Oh, God bless him. He's so sweet, blah, blah. Ladies and gentlemen, streaming, music streams, because you don't listen to radio anymore, so I'm about to hashtag got your ass, all right? Because you don't listen to radio anymore, so check. Because you do stream things, streaming, the payout for a songwriter is decimal point 0.0033 cents per stream. Ain't nobody making money on the music side. Nobody. But I know for a fact they got to be, because it's the only way they can stay in it. The signed writers, the published writers, have got to be getting kickbacks from the labels because the labels are losing their rear ends with all of the streaming until they cut a deal with them. Old Billy Bad Boy, Mr. Spotify over there in Sweden, tried to play Billy Bad Boy for a while, but he took the money too and signed deals with them. So let's get to program directors. I've done this before, but this is a very big deal. All right? Very big. Program directors are the guys and the gals at radio. And on Monday and Tuesday, when they're getting phone calls, guess who they only take phone calls from again? Major record labels. How come no other major record labels can get involved, have a team, go in there and say, hey, I got 5 artists and they're great and they do this. How come it's the same major record labels? You don't know that because you don't know the system. See, and if you knew that, then you would see your managed democracy. It shows you everything. They control everything. Same major record labels all these years. There's been a few pop up, but they were already former executives from another record label, major. So to you, it might look like a new label, but when me knows that that person that's running that label and all their team members were former something on the inside, that's an illusion. That's an illusion of control, an illusion of choice. That is a managed psychological manipulation. So these major record labels have promotion teams. They have regions. They'll have a north region, south region, this region, that region. And they have people who sit when they call, hey, so-and-so's got a new song, blah, blah, blah. The program directors, no questions. Right up to it. All right? So that's why it's a big deal to know that country airplay, the chart I was on, the radio chart, is even bigger than the download chart. If you go to Google, which people can't do and don't do, for some reason, you struggle with going to Google and looking this up, but go to Google and pull up someone like Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen or one of them and click on discography. Click on that. Then click on, not albums, but click on singles. Click on that. It'll pull up this chart of all these singles. You'll see a bunch of lines, and you'll see a bunch of numbers. But find the one that says the U.S. airplay. You'll see it. And look at all the ones in there that says number ones. The one with the most number ones in it, guess what that is? Radio. So most of people's favorite artists, the people out there, love Morgan Wallen right now. All right. So when you go to his discography, all of most of his number one hits are on the radio. Even some of those big hits that people love on the downloads, number 4, number 2, number 5, number 10. So whenever they're bragging about their number one hits, where they got to pull the brag from? Radio. Why do you go see Morgan Wallen and not someone like me? Because you're told how? By this controlled market. And the only way they're making money is via radio, sponsors, conglomerate, monopoly, the same record labels. Nobody else can get in. It's all the artists. So let me show you an example, and I've done this before, but on this big long one here, I'm going to do it. So Priscilla Block, she had a song blow up on TikTok. And then she signed a record deal. Everything was done backwards, right? Signs a record deal, and it blew up on the download chart. I think it was like number 10. It was a top 10. So the song that I got a song called God on a Harley that I wrote. The girl I wrote that with, she wrote that hit song, that Priscilla Block hit. See how this all ties in? That's why you look stupid when you say something like, oh, I've never heard of you, and blah, blah, blah. You don't know what you're talking about. I can't not know what I'm talking about. I'm tied into all of this. So the writer on that top 10, I wrote a song with. That is out. You can hear it. And there's others. So, Priscilla. Guess what the articles read all over country music magazines? The main one, Music Row magazine. That's the main insider one. The one that all the industry people have on their desk. Guess what it asks? Should Universal take this to radio? Well, ladies and gentlemen, for all of you out there that think you're not controlled, think you're not a hypocrite, if you don't listen to radio anymore, if the downloads chart was more popular and you downloaded it, why in the heck would they take it to radio? I wonder. Because you had never heard of Priscilla Block in the mainstream world, the bigger mainstream audience. So what do? They take it to radio, where then what? We see how she plays her game. We see how many you know what she puts in her mouth, as Kid Rock says about artists who play the game. The more you play the game, the longer you play the game. See how that works? See, so she goes around the program directors and she, oh, yeah, oh, I'm your friend, oh, yeah. And they keep putting her on here. And then they put her on what? Stages, concerts, arenas. See how the fans do from that angle. It's not difficult. So how come program directors can't play anything but Billboard affiliates? That's why if you were to call a Billboard station, and you say, I got a cousin, you got to listen to them. First off, they're not going to answer your phone call anymore. So there's that. They don't even use calls anymore from that angle. Because to be a Billboard affiliate, that means you're an affiliate of Billboard, right? So there's a quote-unquote Kamala kind of quote. To be a Billboard affiliate, that means you're an affiliate of Billboard. Correct. Okay, so when you're a Billboard affiliate, that means what? You have their office number, not the main line that you call in, and you don't get anything anymore. So my team that took me up the Billboard chart, they were former major record label executives. Former. But they're still what? Billboard affiliates. They're certified and verified. And you have to be in order to call on those program directors. All right, so major record labels, publishers, creative directors, program directors, and executives never have had hits of their own. Now imagine that. Now think about that. Majority of your major record label executives, publishers, the heads of publishing, creative directors especially, not all of them, but most of them, and also program directors and executives have never had hits in country music. You're controlled. All right, now Kid Rock. Now we're going to get on Kid and the other subject right now, but Kid Rock, you've heard me talk about this. Well, you've heard me, but you didn't listen. But Kid Rock versus Bruce Springsteen, they got in this little squabble. All right, and Kid, yeah, choice words, right? He specifically said, yes, I've tickled a few in my lifetime. This is Kid Rock's quote. I've tickled a few. I guess there's some people out there probably won't even pick that up. I've tickled a few balls in my life, all right? But I've never put a penis in my mouth. Woo! That's Kid Rock for you, right? He said, I've tickled a few, I've played the game, but I never put one in my mouth. He couldn't be more accurate. You can't be any more descriptive but any more accurate than that comment. That's that system I just talked about, the program directors. You have to impress these group of people who have never had a hit song of their own. So they're basically a quote-unquote fan, but they're a what? Monopoly fan. They're a conglomerate fan, meaning not a fan of it. They're in that. They're in this system that they don't even question because to them it's so big. So the program directors, and then Kid made a comment about, he said, I could have slept with one of them's wife and got me a blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he went on. But it's very accurate what he said. It's all about this system you've never heard of. And why would you want to support something like this? Well, I say that, but Americans love what? Drama. You don't love truth. You don't love underdogs. You don't love authenticity. You don't love genuineness. You don't love integrity. You love drama. You love the publicity. You love the arguing. You love the division. You love the chaos. Let's just be honest. You do. Major labels versus streaming platforms. All right, so major labels all these years. 8-track, cassette tape, CDs. All right. You'd have a CD, you'd have 10, 15 songs on it. They'd sell it for 10 or 15 bucks. Right? And you're making all that money. Then came along the Napster and LimeWire, which started pirating songs. But then the songwriters did what? Hey, what are you doing? See, and that's where you, the fans out there, way back then, you were ripping off people like me who are writer. And I heard it over and over years saying, I don't care about that. Who gives a crap? See, you didn't even appreciate, whoever you are, didn't appreciate the process. You didn't appreciate the creation. You didn't appreciate the person who probably went through a real divorce, not the artist, or a real heartache, not the artist, who wrote that song based off of that true real life emotion for the artist to try to mimic that and replicate that in an artist way. You don't care about that? I heard that comment many, many times. And the labels let it do this. They just let it. They never clamp down like they should have. That's why a lot of you executives that I know, yeah, you deserve everything you're getting right now. A lot of you hit writers out there, you deserve it too because your paychecks have gone down because you wouldn't step up. You had no balls, you had no spine, you have no integrity. So you deserve what you're getting right now. You deserve every bit of it. I've been in meetings. I've been in meetings with Dave Gibson, Bill Anderson, and all kinds of people years ago where we talked about this very thing. That the labels and the writers, everybody has to pull together and step up or they're going to lose the system. And what's going on right now? So this is an industry thing, but you, the fan, need to know about it too. And you have control. You just don't realize that you do. So streaming platforms. When Garth Brooks, now a lot of people, there's one of those names, watch the comment boxes. Oh, he's a this, he's deep state, blah, watch them. They won't listen to the principle here. Taylor Swift, same thing, watch the comment box. You won't listen to the principle. You won't find the good in the principle. Now, way back whenever iTunes and Apple, when they were saying, oh, we're going to do these things called singles, people don't care about buying the whole album. They just want the one good song that y'all put out. See the system? See how they expose the system again? See how that shows you the system again, indirectly, maybe directly? Both? The one song you put out, that's the one song that was promoted through the label, through the promotion team, to the conglomerate, monopoly, program directors at radio. See that? So Garth Brooks and Taylor Swift, separately, but together at the same time, they were saying, hey, whoa. We're writers. We write our songs. Not all, well, Taylor does, but Garth didn't write all of his, but he wrote a lot of his. He wrote a lot of his hits, too, if Tomorrow Never Comes. But they were saying, whoa, this is where we are as an artist. An album is where we are as an artist, where we are in our lives and what we want our fans to have. And if the other fans out there don't like it, then okay, we're catering to our fans. That's what an artist is supposed to do. You're supposed to love me for me, not for a song, one and done. They stood up. Taylor had to give in, but Garth didn't. Garth is on Amazon to this day. That's the only place you can get his music. It's Amazon. And then he had a box set for a while before Amazon was even a thing. But he had a box set that you could buy at Walmart. And that's the only place you could get it. So, see, a lot of you don't really know. You think you know about something about somebody, what you've heard out there on your little .nets and your .orgs that don't go to anything but a bunch of people putting in their valueless opinions about somebody. And you don't really realize that these people may be actually a part of this big takedown, and you're over there judging them because you don't even know a system. You don't even know the system. You had no idea that Garth Brooks and Taylor Swift were very big vocal components of the artists, the songs, the songwriters. Ye hypocrites. Now you wonder why Jesus went into the temple and flipped over the tables. People like you. Interns. You see all these artists out there. Oh, they got hundreds of millions of streams there, Jonhson. Why aren't your songs have that many? Interns. They have interns sitting there on computers daily. They have bots in Russia that run these numbers up. Because they know you're going to see this big number and go, oh, I got to listen to this song. There's conversion ratios out there. There's conversion ratios, and it don't add up. A lot of these country artists, how are you listening to all these at one time? How do they all have hundreds of millions of streams? You're not listening that much. Especially a lot of you out there in the quote-unquote what you think is a real economy. It's not. It's all an operation. But those of you out there working 2 and 3 jobs, you ain't got time to listen to music. Sorry. Not sorry. So, me. So I had major record label meetings with Warner Brothers, Broken Bow, Universal, Sony, and Riser House, which is a subsidiary of Sony. But they're still, quote-unquote, separate to their little regime. All right, this is back whenever I had my first album. All right, this is how I know everything. Literally. So I had all these record label meetings, and so the biggest two, obviously, Broken Bow said I would, Broken Bow now, Jason Aldean. Broken Bow's whole thing, I'm too traditional. Too family oriented, too traditional. Then Riser House, that was the best one about all of them, because they were like, we love your story, we love your music, we love your how tall you are, you're a veteran, you're a disabled veteran, you're a this, you're that. You get more song rights with #1 hit songwriters than our signed writers down the hall. Loved everything. But guess what they do? Have you ever thought of a publishing deal? Excuse me, madam, but I'm currently sitting on the Billboard chart that's on your desk right now. I'm on your chart, the biggest chart, and you're trying to push me towards writing? You want me to write for you? So you want to take 50% of my publishing straight out the gate and not even be pushed as an artist? See, if I'd have taken that, I might have hits right now, big hits with major record label artists, especially theirs, as a writer, but guess what would have been canned? My artistry. See what I didn't do? I didn't take a deal. I didn't cut a deal. And that was just one. But there's one right there where I could have just cowered down and like, oh yeah, oh, I'll take anything you give me. No, I know my value. I know my worth. I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. I was sitting on the Billboard chart as she was saying that. And then to say that I get more, I've been in more co-writes, I've written with more #1 hit writers than her own signed artist down the hallway? These people are low IQ, they're incompetent people, and never had a hit of their own. So their hypocrisy and gaslighting and manipulation, here, just like that, they can take any artist any given day. Any artist any given day, give them a song, go down the hall, promotion team, program director, boom, game over. So it's not about talent. It's not about authenticity. It's not about any of that. Because any given day they can do that. So a great example, Mitchell Tenpenny. That's one of Riser House's artists, little fat boy, all right, old little Smokey, all right, and actually he'd be more like a little stogie, like a little fat cigar that Columbo just got finished smoking that he don't want anymore. So she's sitting there telling me, we love your music, we love your height, we love your your story, we love this, we love that, we love this, we love that, we love. And all that about the music, and I write my own music, and man, you're a great songwriter, and this, that. Then they turned around and asked me, after all that, turned around and that should have been this before, and then that, but didn't. They inverted that. So they asked me, what are my streams, what are my revenues, and what are my social media numbers? After she had just got finished telling me that they could not get Mitchell Tenpenny to open his phone one time during the week just to check Instagram or post one thing, that the interns down the hall had to do it. You see the hypocrisy there? Sat there and told me that their own signed artists who didn't play on the road before, none of that stuff, just this guy just comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he's never written a song. He's not a writer. So how come they take an artist who don't have any story, anything, no resume, all right, some loser out there, right, that has no story, that didn't go in the military, wasn't a medic, didn't work the pipelines, didn't work the oil rigs, nothing like that, all right? If they did, it was like a year or two. It wasn't like, oh, this guy's been in the oil field for 20 years and he's this. No. So she just sat there and told me, we can't get him to answer even open the phone, open the app, post one thing, but then in turn asked me what my numbers were. So here he is, a major record label signed artist. No one knows me. So how are fans to flock towards me when they took him through their system? You got to listen there. They took him through their system, their monopoly, their conglomerate. They took him. They built his fan base. He didn't do that. But see, they thought I would crumble to their little offer of a pub deal, and I didn't. And I told her, so help me God, if I ever blow up on social media one day, I'm going to expose this whole system, how you're tied to the deep state, the swamp. It's not about talent, not about authenticity. So publishers, most of the creative directors, those are the ones who are listening to songs daily, are Belmont grads, former interns, zero life experience. They brown nose the heck out of the executives. They don't know anything about life. They ain't even lived life because they're straight out of college. All right, so they don't know a great song. They don't know great lyrics. So now watch this. I've got to keep motoring here because I got quite a few pages to get to. How come most songwriters with hits and cuts have never met the artist? Woo! Did you hear me? How come most of your favorite artists don't even know the songwriter of the song they're singing? How come the artist never talks about credits or shout-outs or thanks the songwriters for their creative work? How come you never hear a single artist thank a songwriter? For all you Garth Brooks haters out there, he always thanked the songwriters. He named them by name. How come fans don't know most artists do not write their own songs? And why don't you fans care about that? So there was a person who commented this week on one of my posts about the whole Till You Can't, Kid Rock, all that stuff. And I was doing a post about that. And you can tell sometimes, not all the time, but you can tell some snarky, the way people type, the way they put a comma, the way they put a question mark, the way they put certain things. You can read that someone's being a smart aleck, right? This person said, well, if Cody Jonhson didn't write it, then who wrote the song? I mean, have you ever heard of an app called Google? Probably want to try that sometimes. And if you claim you're such a holier-than-thou patriot, then you can try your DuckDuckGo. Why don't you put in there, who wrote the song Till You Can't by Cody Jonhson? Some of you, you look bad in the comment boxes. I'm telling you. You look dumber than a parking brake on a unicycle. Yeah, I'm telling you. You take dumb to a whole new dimension. So the song process. You either write for a publisher or you're writing formally as a former publisher. The songs that are getting recorded out there by the major record label artists are either written by writers that are writing for a publisher, or they have all their, we call have our publishing back, means that we're not signed anymore. We got all those songs back, and we can pitch them where we want. And you probably have relationships with some good producers out there. And you pitch to that producer when you see them on what they call a pitch sheet. There's a sheet that goes around, and it's an insider sheet. And they don't put their emails on there because they don't want the public this to leak out. So I have all their emails, like George Strait's producer and different people. I send a song, maybe one song a year to George Strait's producer or whoever, right? I send it. Or someone like Craig Campbell, know him. I send it straight to him if I have anything that fits him. It's a protocol and an etiquette, though. You don't just willy-nilly send it. All right, so if you have all your publishing back, you're going to have those relationships because we are in the thing called the what? The industry. All right, so there's that. So, there's a whole process you don't even know anything about. Songwriters get signed to publishing deals. And then when they get dropped and or they want out of their deal, then you get publishing back. Some don't get their publishing back. Depends on what they sign. I know a writer who didn't get any of their songs back, which is a bad deal. But that's how it works sometimes. That's why you got to know what you're doing. That's why you got to know. So I call it the farm. Now, this isn't an industry term, but I've coined it the farm. The farm. So now the songwriters who are atrocious, it's not even really writing. You fans out there, God love you. Because you make it hard for me not to. All right? And I know I'm supposed to love you in Christ, but outside of that, I don't love you. God love you, but I don't. If you can't hear that this stuff is the same doo-doo on a loop, it's the same loop. It's like putting it all in a blender and just, oh, honeysuckle lips and watermelon wine and baby, baby, baby and na-na-na-na-na, It's the same crap. And it's the same bop. It's like the country bop. It's like the Hanson version of just the same loops over and over and over and over again. And you can't hear it? How? But the farm is what I call it. The publishers now and the published writers. And it's terrible. There's no quality lyrics. There's no quality poetry in the lyrics. There's no double, triple meaning songs anymore. Because my songs, I'm bragging on myself, but hey, if I'd have been a writer in the 90s, it'd have been game over. Harlan Howard would have had to scoot over. Dean Dillon would have had to make room. Because I write double, triple lyrics with emotion and passion and paint a picture that you can actually follow in a song as you hear it. Dave Gibson, other big writers, taught me that. He said, man, people can write these crappy songs all day long, these little hokey pokey. Man, write a great song. They last longer. But unfortunately, the fans haven't lasted because you've been blasted by all these different forms of government that the deep state put on you. So now they got 3 to 14. Now I mean, this is blowing my mind. There are anywhere from 3 on a minimum now. There's occasionally 2, but it's mainly 3 to 14 songwriters per song. It takes 14 songwriters to write a song now? That is not artistry, ladies and gentlemen. That is not creation. That is control. That is for sure. We got all these fans out there. They have no idea what's going on. They just hook, line, and sinker. They'll trash a retired veteran over here, underdog, who's the first to do this. But they'll come right over here to anything we put out by so-and-so and so-and-so. That's one thing. If you've never heard of me and you've never heard of the Royal Flush of Country Music, it's one thing. But once you've heard, you have no excuses whatsoever. Because again, any given day, a record label can take one of these songs by a published writer, a publisher, put it on their artist, take it through their system, it's going to be a hit no matter what. Because that's their system. You do not control that. You're not making it go through. It goes through the radio process before it goes through the downloads process. And then songwriters, those published songwriters don't write with independent songwriters. They only write with their published team, and occasionally they'll get with another big hit writer with another publisher. The other dumb comment I saw this week that I'm going to comment on since I'm here on songs right now is selling songs. You don't sell songs. Writers don't sell songs. Artists don't sell songs. That is some rhetoric that was made up in like the 1970s or 60s, somewhere back there. The only time that happened, it would have been called selling the publishing rights. Great example. What's his name? Just drew a blank. But one of the writers on Friends in Low Places, he sold his publishing on that. Meaning, hey, I need to make rent. Can you give me $1,200? I'll sell you my publishing on this. It was a publishing. And if he got it put in writing, then someone could go pitch that song, and then whatever percentage he gave him, if he gave him 100% or whatever, that's dumb. But if he gave him 50%, if that song was recorded, and it, as it did, let's just say it was 50%. And Friends in Low Places obviously went to number 1. All right, and all the royalties that came off of that, guess where that 50% of it went? To that person that paid his rent. They didn't sell the song, though. If you say that, put a dunce cap on your head and get you a little red ball and put on your nose. and go around trying to rub your belly and hit your head at the same time. Because that's how dumb you look if you say that. So publishers out there, their excuses, if you even get a meeting with them, the head or whatever, we're committed to our writers. Then they'll say, we're committed to our writers, but then like a week later, you'll look in the Music Row magazine. This is for all the writers out there, especially. A week later, you'll look in Music Row magazine, and you'll be like, so-and-so signed so-and-so. You're like, they just told me they weren't signing writers. These people are hypocrites, man, I'm telling you. They are the worst of the worst. They're the sorriest and the worst. They'll look you in the eye. But, I mean, it is, whatever the biggest, boldest lie is out there, they'll look you right in the eyes. They'll walk right out at that moment, right behind you, right then. The other dumb comment I heard, Doug Jonhson, I like you somewhat. You're still old school a little, but Doug Jonhson, no relation. But the dumbest thing you've ever said to me, Doug Jonhson, and I'm going to tag the ever-living crap out of you and send this to you. The dumbest thing you've ever said to me, you need to co-write more. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a hit writer, a hit producer, and a major record label executive telling me way back I need to co-write more. Why do I need to co-write more when I can write it solo better than the co-writes? There's their system. There's their dirty system. You got to play the game. You got to tickle the balls. You got to get in their system. They're brown-nosed, woke, DEI. Didn't want that. Don't want that. Why do I need that when I can write songs just as good without them? Then you have things out there, and this is a good thing, and you fans need to go, you need to go as often as you can. The Frank Brown Festival and the Key West Festival. All right, you get to go to the beach to both of them. So there you go. You can vacate. Go see the writers of the songs. All right, now some of them need to grow a spine, sure, but at least go see the ones who write the hits. Go listen to the creator of the song. Those are two festivals that I highly recommend. All right, now I'm going to give a shout out to a friend of mine who's written some rock and roll hits. And I've written with him my song Doing Country Right, and I have another song that will be coming out here soon that I wrote with him. That was on my last record. But Jack Williams, he and I were talking not long ago. We were in Marshall Shoals, Alabama, and we went out to dinner. And Jack and I were talking, and I have one of my team members there. But Jack's had songs recorded by Uriah Heep, Blackfoot, and Greg Allman, for all you rock and roll fans out there. He's also had songs recorded by the Oak Ridge Boys and a few others. But Jack Williams, great guy. Also, I might add, Ura, Marine Corps veteran. All right, but Jack is someone that I've known for about 19 years now. And he said this other day, and I was telling my team member, I said, see, he's saying exactly what I'm saying. All right, and Jack and I, we differ in some things, politics, but that's okay. That's what you're supposed to do, right? But there's a lot of things that we also tie in on, very key, right? Very keen on. Jack said specifically, Nashville used to elevate talent. If you were good, but your buddy was greater, the good guy elevated the buddy. But then the one that was actually the most talented remembered the elevation and went back and uplifted that person. Dave Gibson. Dave Gibson, look him up. The Gibson Miller Band, Dave Gibson. Doug Jonhson produced them. But Gibson, Dave Gibson, I worked for him a long time. Have great respect for him. All right. In a lot of ways, he's a great. It's like he's a great singer. He's a great writer. All right, but Dave Gibson, he way back in the 90s told his publisher, hey, you need to sign so-and-so. They're like, why? That'd be competition. He's like, no, it's not. He starts getting cuts and hits. He's on our team. They let him go. His publisher didn't sign him, and the guy went on to be big. All right, so there's that. All right, there's two major ways to have Billboard hits. One is a major record label. The other, 99.9999% of artists that are living in Nashville and outside of Nashville, but especially those living there, have no idea that you can go around the major record labels like I did, straight to the Billboard. but it's a slicey and dicey way to do it. All right, so one, major record labels. Airplay, country airplay. Monopoly, conglomerate, sponsors, tickets, merch. See all that money there? Big money. You've that's been to a concert, you spent $10, $15, $20 for a little bitty thing of drink. Right? And probably Bud Light. I'm going to call some of y'all out because you're drinking Rocky Mountain Oyster piss. All right? So the discography proves all the major record labels. Again, Priscilla Block, revert back to that. It's basically social welfare and redistribution, which is communism. Because, again, you don't know the major record labels. You don't know the people running them. You don't know the publishers, especially. You don't even know that the artists don't write most of their stuff. You have no idea. You're just, oh, Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, and da-da-da-da-da. That's it. And then you get mad when someone like me, you hear Luke Combs. He's talking about Luke Combs. No, I'm not. I'm telling you a principle. I'm telling you how the system works, the process works. Then you decide, oh, holy crap, this is exactly managed democracy. This is exactly these. It is. You just didn't realize it. So, again, you look at how fans take up for a system with a blueprint and artists you don't even know. So if it were about music and the fan, if you knew your consumer power, you'd use it to demand quality, and you wouldn't be mad at a true underdog and the first guy to do what I've done. So the industry used to be about this, and it still is, but it used to be return on investment, because all a record label is basically a bank. So naturally, they put up money for an artist, and then you want a return on that. All right? So there's that. It's about the song. Can't have music without a song, right? All right, I guess you can. I guess you could have music, but none of you are going to listen quite a while because it ain't got no honeysuckle lips and all this other bull crap in it. All right, so you're not going to just listen to Floyd Kramer anymore, who used to do that in country music. Music, no lyrics. So song, royalties, and percentage. Then it's about the artist and the story and their bio. All right, so that's the whole what the industry is supposed to be all about. But all of a sudden, lyrics, looks, and social media have all of you up under those three forms. You don't love music because you love music. You just have gone on all these years. Your mom and daddy loved it, and it got passed down to you, but you didn't realize the system changed back here. You didn't realize what they're doing back here. So the illusion of choice, again, the illusion of control, psychological manipulation, the inverted totalitarianism, self-authoritarianism, and then also your managed democracy. I'm going to reiterate those again. All right? So now, same record labels and publishers, same chart, same publications, the same. Same everything. Hasn't changed. So that shows you your control. It shows you your capture and your control. And then for the second portion, so you got your major record label, but someone like me, on average, it costs this. That didn't happen for us. This is our industry record. But on average, for all the artists that don't know this, if you got someone laying around with $750,000, then go for it. This is what you do. You go find a Billboard affiliated team. You give them $800,000 just to go over, just to be sure, and you do what Zach Top did. $750,000. All of you fans think Zach Top just came out of nowhere because he's talented and he can play a guitar and all. Yes, he's talented. Yes, he can play a guitar. Yes, he can sing. I don't know if he can write because he's writing with hit songwriters that are well established, been around for many, many years. So I don't know who's pulling those lines. I'm not in the room with them. But yes, all those are true. But how did he come from? Where did he come from? How did he get there? $750,000 for one song to go on the Billboard chart. as an independent. That's what happened. And he made it through. He's the lottery winner that made it through. Boom. But you out there, oh, real country music coming back. Oh, he's great. Blah, blah, blah. $750,000 for one song. And I can sit here and name multiple people that I know that you don't know that spent $500,000 you've never heard of. It's like riding down the road, rolling down the window, throwing $500,000 out the window because you're not getting it back. Because if you don't know them, how are they going to make the money back? How are they going to make it on streams? How are they going to make it on streams when they're 0.0033 cents per stream? Woo! Ugh. So it's very volatile. That's the squeeze, as they call it. Zach Top. So now I'm gonna go over some examples for you. Some people out there. So I've already done the Zach Top thing. So let's go to Lainey Wilson. I've written with Lainey Wilson a long time ago. Way back yonder. She was begging, boy, she was trying to get in every room she could. She was begging. Oh, I know if I just got one chance. And she did what? She signed a deal with the devil. She don't look anything like she did. Woo! Man, and she ain't no cowgirl. All that is to get you hooked, and they paint this picture, this facade, and oh, we can make her this. We can make her the modern day Loretta Lynn, and blah, 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 blah. And you fans out there, just shoot, hook, line, and sinker, boy. Go on. Right? So, Lainey Wilson was writing with me and different people, right? One, none of these people, when they get signed, they never elevate. They never go back to their friend base that they were in. None. They automatically in with all the major record label artists. That's it. They can't. They won't let them go back to anybody. Why? If it was about talent, couldn't she bring up a couple of her friends on her team and have them write with her and what she was doing for them to sign her? No, because it don't work like that. That ain't what she signed. She signed something else. She just wanted it so bad. I'll do anything. Lainey Wilson moved back to Monroe, Louisiana before she was signed. So why did she leave and quit Nashville and move back home? What about all the other females who were in Nashville at that moment? Why Lainey, who quit and moved back home? Oh. All right, here we go. Taylor Swift, Shabuzi, Beyonce. A lot of you patriots, you're going to load the comment box up. Oh, I hate them. They're this. All right. They're the same industry. Same Billboard, same program directors, same major record labels. There's that chaos, and that's one of my quotes. Chaos plus division equals power acquisition. Bingo. They got you. If you're hating on them, then you're loving on someone else in the same system. If you're loving on them, right? If you're loving on Taylor or Beyonce or Shabuzi, you're probably hating on the others. There's very few of you who love them all. Data shows this. So there's your illusion of controlling your choice, because a lot of people out there, Garth Brooks, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, all that, oh, blah, 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 blah. Same record labels, same Billboard, same program directors, same publishers, same writers. Conglomerate, monopoly. They got you. Oh, here's the fun one. Oh, this one happened this week. Cody Jonhson, no relation, thank God. All right, Cody Johnson's got a song called Till You Can't. All right, Till You Can't. First off, great song. Great written. It's different, but there's that right there. There's a prime example. The song, how can you fans hear that as a great song, but not hear some others out there as great songs? That's not major record label artists. I have some songs in that category. I've written with a lot of number one hit songwriters. We have some great songs we've written. So how come you can hear that is a great song, but you can't hear one of mine as a great song. How come I get, oh, your music's trash? And how's my music trash? I'm writing with the same hit writers, the Hall of Famers. My musicians on my albums are the same musicians that's played on for the last 50 years, #1 hits, the ones living. Vocal production, hit producer, hit songwriter. I mean, I have the same everything except for the money to compete. I have the same everything. So it shows your ignorance when you say that. So it's a great song till you can't, but Cody Jonhson didn't write it. So that means that any artist that song went to, it was going to be a hit song because it was written by published writers and it was pitched to a signed artist. So, you know, no matter how many dumb comments I would ever receive and hateful and negative, guess what? The dumber they are, the more hateful they are, the more ignorant you are. Because I still have Billboard hits, and I still have the record, and I still have the #1 book, no matter what. And that song proves it. It's a great song, but Cody didn't write it. And then also, it's a great song because it's surrounded by what? Duds. All of country music, it's a bunch of duds. So it's like the movie Shallow Hal. You ever go watch that movie and the guy's going like this? Look at this. All right? She's ugly. They're all ugly, right? Then they put it, look at that. She's hot, right? So that's what you fans are doing. You've heard so much garbage songs that this one great song, and it is a good song, ain't no doubt. But all the stuff around it that surrounds it is a dud. And they all sound the same. And they're not great. And they're not great lyrics. And they're not meaningful lyrics. They're not authentic. Because if Till You Can't was back in the 90s, it would be just another song. Because the 90s lyrics, my lyrics look just like the 90s music. Because that's what I aim and strive to write for. And when I go in with writers, that's what we aim to write for. All right? And I only write with one other writer if I can help it at this time in history because of what I'm doing to prove that the whole thing's rigged. So I write as many as I can solo, but I'll co-write every now and then, depending on who it is and if it's a buddy of mine. Other than that, you don't need to. You young writers out there, quit writing with everybody and anybody. So it's the principle. It's the principle around it. Till You Can't's a great song. Also, Cody Jonhson didn't write it. So when Kid Rock covered it out there, Kid Rock, he probably asked for the blessing, meaning like, hey, I love this song, I'd love to record it, but I don't want to step on your toes. But it was already a hit song. And once it's a hit song, or once it's actually once a song is ever recorded, you can record it. You just got to pay for the licensing. Oh, there's a term most people don't even know about, licensing. Licensing. There's another industry term, fans, you have no idea about. That's why you look stupid, and I have to use the term stupid and dumb and ignorant when you say stuff towards someone like me when you don't even have a clue how dumb you look. I don't want you to look dumb. I want you to eat this up and be educated on it and take control and support more artists, quality lyrics, quality songs, not just me. I don't want you to look dumb, but that's how dumb you look. Because the comments I saw on some of my posts, I'm like, you people are, boy, y'all are ate up. That saying, ate up, you ate up with it. Ate up. The artist, Cody Jonhson, has no say-so on that song whatsoever. Even though he took it up the chart and it was hit, he has no say-so on that song. 800 people can record that song. Cody Jonhson has not one say-so. The writers they can't say no. They can't do it. They licensing, pay up. So if someone like me wanted to record it, I'd have to go to those two writers and say, hey, what's your publishing and what's your licensing fee? And you should want that anyway, because a song like I held you right on the tips of my fingers, but I let you slip right through my hand. That song by Bill Anderson, Whispering Bill, that song's been recorded by over 800 artists. So think about 800 times, let's say $50 a year for 50 years. Adds up, don't it? Yeah. And that's actually depending on how many units are sold. All right, Oliver Anthony, another great one. Shows how people are hypocrites. So the dude comes out, looks like a, you know what, a mongoloid out there in overalls in a field in his little overalls, making you all think that this guy, he's a poor boy, country boy from West Virginia. He's probably married to his sister, but that's okay for right now because I love this song. You know, and all of a sudden, he's singing a song, the debut song, Rich Men North of Richmond. Rich Men North of Richmond. That would be Washington, D.C. He's talking about the men in suits, D.C., the swamp, Congress. And you all, hey, blew it up. And somebody I knew at the time, hey, don't. It was someone outside of country music, nothing to do with country music. Hey, don't roast him. Like, this is good for the people. The people are, this is blue collar, and it's giving them something. I'm like, he's a hypocrite. Why would I not? This is what people need to see. What you're supporting is hypocrisy at its finest. His blow-up song, Rich Men North of Richmond. So it's supposed to be a song calling out men in suits from a blue-collar boy. And all the people going, I got to support this young man, blah, blah. Go to uspto.gov, type in Oliver Anthony music. J. Rogers Lunsford. Go look up Rich Uncle from Atlanta, who's worked with Outkast, Dolly Parton. And how come, the poor boy, he got on Joe Rogan because he's a poor boy singing a song about poor people and the blue-collar people and calling out rich men. He got on Joe Rogan because his uncle worked with Joe Rogan. His rich uncle, who's a lawyer. You hypocrites. Luke Combs. This dude. He looks like the dude who joins a fraternity because he can't get laid. He's so ugly he can make a freight train take a dirt road. All right. Luke Combs. 0 solo rights. All right. So his first hits were all with big hit writers. All right. All these people. So then there's that. But this is the best one. So he grows up in North Carolina. All right. And in 2015, he is in a music video with a redneck named Upchurch, all right, and they've got a massive rebel flag. In 2015, massive rebel flag behind him, which has nothing to do with slavery whatsoever, nothing, not one iota to do with slavery, all right. It has everything to do with the Southern Confederacy, all right. So people need to stop apologizing for that flag and get over it, all right, because there's nothing wrong with that flag. All right, it shows people's IQs and trying to connect a flag to some form of punishment and torture and all this other stuff. That's a whole other topic. But the dude grows up in North Carolina, which, I mean, back in the day was Southern, not so much anymore. Some parts of it, yes, but it's changed a lot. So the dude grows up over there, has a rebel flag on his guitar growing up, all right? Music video with Upchurch, massive rebel flag. And then all of a sudden, after his big hits, all these woke DEI artists, Maren Morris being one of those, and a lot of these others started ridiculing, and it grew out there, and it made publicity. And Luke Combs did what? 5 years after it, 4 or 5 years, he did what? Apologize. Put a formal apology. I didn't know that this flag brought so much oppression to people. Blah, 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 blah. My foot. You didn't know. I didn't know. And here's a key thing. If you're listening, This is why it pays to listen. And this is why terminology matters. If you read what he put, he said, over the last few years, I've grown as an artist. What's an artist have to do with anything? See, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't say I grew as a person. I grew as an artist. The swamp, the system, the control, the people you don't know, the people who control you consumers. I grew as an artist. He didn't grow as a person. Very key. His wife, you look at her, she looks supermodel. He looks like Wolfman Jack needs to hit a treadmill 7 years straight and never hop off. All right. Another great example. Money talks, bullshit waltz. Right. If he wasn't Luke Combs, he wouldn't have her. No way, Jose. Ain't happening. All right. And then also, he was the dude who said that they asked him, "Oh, when'd you start singing?" "Oh, I just picked up a guitar a few years ago." So how come all these other artists out there, not me, let's just go with someone else. What about all these other artists out there, male or female, who are paying their dues out on the road? They're going out on the road. They're singing all over. So this guy, he picks up a guitar, and a few years later, he's got hit songs with hit songwriters? Yeah. I know what I'm talking about. Morgan Wallen. Oh, hell had no fury if you talk about Mullet Boy. But a lot of you didn't know Mullet Boy was Martina McBride 2.0 just right before that. He looked like a brunette version of Hanson. But see, if that were me, if I was all of a sudden wearing the polar opposite, and then I blew up and I looked like the polar opposite, y'all be like, "Well, I thought you were a cowboy. I thought you were country." And all the people who follow Morgan Wallen, the most of them, this is what they are. Southern rednecks, Southern country folks, right? They're wearing their little, Southern folks know what I'm talking about. You got your little ball cap with the little duck on it. You got a certain kind of t-shirt, you know, it's got the little pocket on the front. You got your little shorts, right? They almost look like booty shorts, but they're not, because you say they're fisherman shorts or Columbia, and you got your little Sperry's on or some kind of something like that. All those. Those are the people that supported. Those are the very people that if they saw him before wearing like this leather jacket that looked like it came from Rue 21, 80% off rack, and all this other stuff, hair grown out, makeup on, they wouldn't have supported this dude because he don't look like their kind. But that's okay. We got a quick fix for that because we're the major record labels and we have them all controlled because that's where mainly country music fans still are to this day. All we got to do is put a mullet on you. You're from Tennessee. We'll say that right there. You're from a small town out there near Knoxville. And you can put your little mullet on there. Go real extreme. Go super extreme. Go mullet extreme. All right, look like Billy Ray Cyrus. Spit something out of his left testicle, and you're it. Right? So, bingo. You're in the game. Here you go, mullet boy. All right, put your little shirt on like this and put your ball cap on like that. Make it look like your old country boy. And then, voila. Morgan Wallen is the greatest thing since homemade sliced bread. Quantity. Dude's putting out albums with 37 songs on it. They all sound the same. All you got to do is if there was a way to skip from one song to the next, they all sound the same. They're not good lyrics whatsoever. All right. It's just, and it's catering to a certain demographic. If you're 35 and older listening to Morgan Wallen, you have some serious issues. You're in trouble. It's a publicity stunt. All these publicity stunts, him dropping the N word and all these other things, publicity stunt. But then the other stuff wasn't. Throwing a chair off a bar, is that who you want your kids to look up to? You're a hypocrite if you do. The chair could have hit somebody, could have killed somebody, could have been serious. Is this who you want your children to idolize? A dude who was not authentic? Looked like Martina McBride 2.0. All of a sudden, he's a redneck. All right. He's dropping the N-word, slang. Sounds like white trash. He sounds like the white, what we used to call the, well, I won't say the word, but he looks like white trash, right? Trailer Park Boy. And all of a sudden, you know, he's the greatest thing. So, phew. Man, That's what you want your kids to look up to? Then all these fans out there, though, you'll take up for them. See, I do this on purpose to get them all riled up because there are probably some in the comment box taking up for him. That's great. Take up for him. He's, again, zero authenticity. All right. But I say that to show you this is Billboard. You say he was shunned. He was an outlaw. No, he's not. If he was an outlaw, he'd have told what I'm telling. He'd have said, you know what? I don't need you. I have a fan base. They love me, even though I'm a hypocrite and I'm not. I have zero authenticity. But all he had to do was in those arenas that he was selling out, that you thought he was selling out without being able to be nominated for this and nominated for that. And how does he have Billboard hits? See, because you don't know how Billboard works. Those of you taking up for Morgan Wallen, you don't know how Billboard works. Billboard is the key system. So you're all out there sharing that he had the most Billboard hits this year. Program directors, they're more woke than the CMAs. They're more DEI than the ACMs. And the ACMs and CMAs are organizations, and they're a lot smaller than the program directors. See, you're a hypocrite and don't know how you're a hypocrite. And that's the sad part. But when you get in the comments, or through my life, say what you said to me in the last 10 years, right? Then you deserve to be called a hypocrite. You deserve to be called that, especially if you get in the comment box and look atrocious, because you don't want to listen. He's not an outlaw. Outlaws don't issue apologies. Johnny Cash didn't apologize. Waylon Jennings dang sure didn't apologize. So outlaws don't issue apologies. Mr. Morgan has issued apologies. You don't issue an apology. Luke Combs, apology. You don't issue. That's showing you he's playing the system. They created these publicity stunts. They created all this publicity because they know they have you captured and controlled because you're taking up for him. My point proven. Megan Moroney, same thing. They named her Songwriter of the Year for a certain organization. Songwriter of the Year. She's never solo written a song. Everybody she's co-writing with, hit songwriters. Multiple hit songwriters. Each song, multiple hit songwriters. She should be Songwriter of the Year whatsoever. But see, there's another great example of fans who go, oh, she's a songwriter too? Oh, man. And don't even go look at the discography. Don't even know that all the writers she's in there with, they write daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. 5-10 songs a day. They pick the best ones out of that. So that's like taking water balloon and putting paint in it, throwing it up against the wall, whichever sticks, that's one we're getting. It's cookie cutter, it's not authentic, nothing about it. Jelly Roll! Jelly Roll Jesus! Oh boy, I'm going to really get roasted for this one, but I don't care. Oh, Jelly Roll Jesus! Oh, can do no wrong, holier than thou, Jelly Roll Jesus. Boy, that was a show he put on. They might as well give him the Emmy, the Golden Globe, the Oscar, and everything else he can get. I mean, go ahead and give it to him. I just want to thank my Jesus, Lord and Jesus, Savior, Jesus Christ, Jesus, 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 Jesus. Now, the wrong person hear that, you think that I'm an atheist or something like that. I'm not. I ain't having it. Because the video that I showed all of you out there, and there was a comment on my post. He telling young artists not to. This person, you don't listen. People don't listen at all. Oh, Jelly Roll's in a video before he signed to major record label. He's sitting there, the fat boy, the one that was fat, before he went, oh, 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 baby, you know. Right? Before that, whatever that is, right? So Jelly Roll's sitting there, and he's saying, listen here, young artists, I can make a lot of money. This is how the major record labels F you. I know a lot of Christians don't even like the F word. I know people who don't even like me saying D or S or some of those. Are you going to hell for saying that? Well, if I'm going to hell for saying damn or the others, so he's sitting there telling young artists how major record labels take 95% of your career and you get 5%. And he tells you how it's a line of credit and how it F's you over. And they tell, well, you were already here then before you make this, and that, which is true, but that's just one little teaser of it. He's not telling you what I'm telling you. But for the sake of it, so he's giving advice to young artists, meaning I'm a superior artist. I am not a young artist. I am an expert artist. I am a seasoned artist. I am an artist that knows something that you need to know. Hear that? All right, now apply this. So he's the seasoned, they're the young, and he's telling them this is how the major record labels F you over. Then he goes and signs with one of those major record labels? Yeah, I'm like Johnny Cash. I'm this close to giving that bird. Y'all can sit on this and rotate. All of you holier than thous out there. My God have mercy. So the difference in major record label artists before Murder on Music wrote the songs were heavy on life, faith, God, Jesus, honky tonks, but the drinking songs were not promoting drunk. They were not promoting drugs. They weren't promoting sex, weed, cocaine, cheating, and divorce. There's a huge difference in a song that grips your heart, that was real and what the person did go through, versus writing a song that promotes those. Those major record label artists, though, back in the day, were sung by 30-plus-year-olds who had lived life, and majority of those had resumes outside of music, long resumes. Let me show you an example. I've already named one of them, Dave Gibson. Dave Gibson got his first record deal at 47 years old. 47 years old. Great songwriter, heck of a singer. Matter of fact, in the movie The Cowboy Way with Woody Harrelson and Kiefer Sutherland, in the opening of the movie, Travis Tritt makes a cameo. Very quick, just briefly in the front of the movie. During the time period he makes a cameo, the song Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys was playing in the background. And it sounds just like Travis Tritt, that so many people thought that was Travis Tritt because he made this quick cameo when that song was playing. Dave Gibson, the Gibson Miller Band. Dave Gibson could sing his rear end off, and I'm, hey, forever on my resume, worked with Dave Gibson, the Gibson Miller Band, produced by Doug Jonhson. Vern Gosdin, Alabama boy. Vern Gosdin, he wrote most of his songs as well, and co-wrote a lot, but he wrote a lot of his. Vern Gosdin, Woodland, Alabama, Alabama boy. Vern Gosdin signed, he was the oldest to sign a record deal, 51 years old, ladies and gentlemen, 51. That's when country music was about the song, the artist, the resume, the life, the lifestyle. Vern Gosdin, this ain't my first rodeo. I can tell by the way you dance, you gonna love me tonight. Who are you gonna blame it on this time? That's my favorite song by him. Go listen to the lyrics of those. That's what real country music sounds like. And I have a lot that I've written by myself and also with others. That's what lyrics are supposed to sound like. That's what real country music is. And to show you that real country music fans, where you tripped up, Brett Eldridge. Go look up a song called She Calls Me Raymond. That song only went to like top 20. That shows you where program directors, where they went. That shows you where you went as a downloader, even though download's not the top. But those two do correspond to show you where you did go. That song, She Calls Me Raymond, great country music song. Great. I mean, you think Till You Can is great? Go listen to She Calls Me Raymond. If you don't get chills and a tear to your eye on that, you're the problem. Since 2012, though, songs promote drunk, weed, smoking, cocaine, sex, destruction, divorce, cheating, and then every now and then they'll sprinkle in their God, their Jesus. And that's how they get you. But the Bible, I'm not here to preach, but the Bible says that fresh water and salt water can't come from the same spring. So when you're promoting something, that means you're not doing what the Bible commands you to do. The Bible's about change. It's not about justification whatsoever. The Bible says not to be part of the world. So a honky-tonk, singing about a honky-tonk, you don't promote getting, pissed drunk, as the saying is. You don't promote destroying something, going out, kicking something, punching somebody. There's a huge difference in singing about something you went through, hard time, heartache, something like that, and maybe you did get drunk, but it's a past tense. It's not promoting that. It's not saying, oh, I want this 16-year-old to go out there and get drunk, act like a fool. And what have they done? They took a wholesome genre and they got into your kids. And they've flipped everything. And they've got all this sex and drugs and cocaine and all. I mean, some of these young artists are singing about cocaine. Sung by 17 to 35-year-olds with zero resumes, barely wet behind the ears. Singing a song written by 3 to 14 songwriters with the same resume, because they don't have one either. Most of these writers hadn't lived life. It's on the same loop. It's the same sound that your children and your younger generations are looped in on. Lyrics are the same. They're all dummied down. They're all watered down. And then you wonder what's wrong with society. You wonder why people can't even name the 3 branches of government. You wonder why terminology, I got validated again today. They had I'm just keeping validations coming daily with me on every aspect. They showed a guy, a Democrat, on the witness stand, under oath. He can't even name the 3 branches of government. Who's the only one who's been talking about the 3 branches of government? Me. You wonder what's wrong with society. People react, you don't listen. You don't want to read, you don't want to study, you don't want to comprehend, you still want your opinion, you want to get in the comment box, and you want your opinion, but your opinion has been answered in the video if you'll just listen. But you don't want to. You still want it your way. Like this is Burger King. You don't create the life you've never lived in a song. See, that's what they've done to you out there. They've given you songs that they created the life in the song, and they've never lived it themselves. The artists have never lived it. The songwriters have never lived it. But that's how they can create the song. It's because they got 14, 10, 7 writers in one song. That's premeditated. That's zero authenticity, zero talent, zero creativity. Zero integrity. It's 100% farming and 100% control. So that's why the second unknown way, like my way, a Billboard, getting into that, if you have the full package to beat the system, see, you don't. Most are not going to have that. $750,000 for one song just to try to get on the top 60? It ain't there. Marketing is everything, true. But, so this is going to all your young unsigned artists and writers out there. This is you can play a big part in this. All of you unsigned artists, songwriters, you can play a big role in this. Marketing is everything. You have social media, true. But your first impression is your last impression. You don't know the blueprint. You're trying to get in an industry you don't even know anything about. You Google names. You try to go talk to these names. You don't know how to talk their language. Even if they were a good person, you don't know how to talk their language. You have zero etiquette. You have zero etiquette and also protocol. You're just looking for a big name. When actually someone like me is the actual person you actually need. You pick up niblets here and you niblets there, niblets here. It's like a cart before the horse. You want to put out something on you. Oh, Lord have mercy. You ought to see all of them on Instagram now. Look at my new single. Go check out my new. The songs are terrible. Terrible. But quantity. Everybody and their mama's a songwriter now. This is terrible. And you're chasing names. And you want to do things your way. It's all your way. Zero respect, zero etiquette, zero protocol, zero knowledge. So, like, example. Well, I'm going to get to that. I'll come out here. You're trying to write a song, and you put it out as a single when 99% of the major record label artists don't even write their songs. So, see, that's where these unsigned artists and songwriters, you're trying to write a song, and 99% of the major record label artists ain't even writing. So, see, you got everything backwards. All right, and this goes to the ones out there. My team has experienced this. We've been looking for male and female artists that I'm going to produce. I will produce. And, hold on real quick. We've been looking for male and female artists out there that I'm going to pay for the album, full-fledged album, right? No catches, no gimmicks whatsoever, because I know how to beat the system, right? Quality music, quality songs, hit musicians in every slot, my team, all on there, and give you quality music, put it out on streaming. I'm not going to make any of that money back because it's 0.0033 cents per stream. But we've been doing it. We've been tagging artists left and right. And what have we been getting? We had one not long ago. What did they say? They go, oh, well, my manager, my man. So we talked to the manager. First off, if you're an unsigned artist, you've never had a record deal, you never had a pub deal like I have. I've never had a record deal. I've had an independent deal with my team, but I've had pub deals. If you've never had any of those, you don't need a manager. They're going to get in your way. This person's manager had been to Nashville twice. And then they want to say some bullcrap about a boutique. Oh, we went to so-and-so's boutique songwriter thing. And this person who runs this songwriter thing, you know what they do with those ladies? They find the hottest women out of them. And you can let your mind wander. It's not about the song. They get these people to, oh, we're going to have this songwriter thing. We're going to rent this house over here and such and such. They don't teach you anything. They don't teach you anything. They're just giving you like a little niblet to keep you coming back. Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel. Here's your crumb. Come on, running back. This person dropped that. Shows they did not do any research on me whatsoever. And see, that artist is going to miss out on an opportunity because some manager who's been to Nashville twice, who went to some little boutique, those are the people who get wrapped up, warped in their little game, and they sign a deal with the devil. May not have wanted to, but once they sign, they get in too deep, they can't get out. You don't need management. You're chasing names. When you chase names just because they're a major record label executive and you don't listen to someone like me, you prove it again. Publicists, same thing. You don't need management. You don't need publicists. Publicists charge you $3,000 a month for publications who have a syndicated audience. So there's that. Cover songs. All these young artists out there, you'll see them all over social media covering a song. All you're doing is promoting the major record label and promoting that artist. Yeah, your mama, your daddy, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, somebody's in the comment box. Especially if you're if you're a cute female, you're going to have some dude in there. Oh, you're so pretty, blah, blah. That person is not streaming your music. They are not. They're there, and your conversion ratio will show that. That's what I've told all females. Okay, show me your conversion ratio. How many of these liking your picture in your bikini are going over streaming your music? How many of these streams are bots that you paid for in Russia? They're not natural streams. When you go to my Spotify, it's terrible. The numbers that are following me, terrible. All right, and then also the streams, terrible. But guess what they are? Organic. They're real. They're not paid for. So there you go. And then also you young artists and songwriters out there in Nashville. Nashville, the songwriter realm, is a circle jerk. All right? If you don't know what that is, I don't know if you should Google that or not. But it's all it is, man. And if you're one who signs a deal, you're forgotten about like that. They don't go back down and elevate you up. It's not like that. That's not how publishing works up there. Just ain't. So you don't need any of that. You need a blueprint and a formula. Publications. I'm going to be tagging publications on this video too. Publications on social media. They have zero influence on major record labels, ladies and gentlemen, or publishing deals. They are nothing but a bunch of social media captured audience. I've been featured on Country Rebel and Country Music Nation. It didn't do a thing. Don't do a thing. They got a syndicated audience who don't leave their page. It's terrible. None of these publications. Matter of fact, I had one, Saving Country Music, it's the name of theirs. This dude claims he's trying to save country music, and he's all about traditional. And when we were trying to reach out to them way back 8 or 9 years ago, this dude had the audacity. I was on the Billboard chart. I've never heard of you before, and how many, you talking about some expletives. Saving country music now. Supposed to be, I'm like, you're supposed to be about independent artists. You're supposed to be about saving country music, real country music. And you don't even know a Billboard artist? You don't even know how big Billboard is? So I hope you hear this, you low-class loser. All right. Labels love free publicity. So see all these publications out there, like Saving Country Music, his brown-nosing, you know what, all the major record labels, artists, free publicity. If there's 1 million publications out there, the major record labels love it because they're doing what? Promoting all of their signed, controlled artists. And you, the fan out there, are keeping them going. So this is like the finale here. So when we start it, you are all under the illusion of choice, control, and psychological manipulation. Same thing again with the way that no one knows that you can have a Billboard hit. The way I did it, that's big. If you knew how big Billboard was, and if you knew and listened to this over and over again, let it sink in what you truly are supporting, you'd realize how big it is for me to go in, beat the system with peanuts, be the first artist to ever blow up outside of that with social media, and then expose the whole system. I'm the only one, ever. Ricky Van Shelton didn't do it again. David Lee Murphy. There's a bunch of people who could have done it. They didn't do it. And they didn't even have social media back then when they were being dropped from their deals. Done wrong, cut out. I mean, I'm the first in country music history to do it, which makes me an iconoclast. You might want to go Google the term iconoclast. All the lawyers I know call me an iconoclast, which is pretty cool to have lawyers call you that. So, an industry that was originally based on royalty should want what? They should want an artist and a writer with more percentage, which means not only is it talent, but it's more percentages. Instead, they do what? They prove control of the totalitarianism. Gonna get it right? And then all the others that I named. They prove it. 3 to 14 songwriters per song. Every song. Per song and every song on the whole records means you're captured. It means the definition of all. Meaning that everything from top to bottom means you're captured. And they can keep doing this because you don't care. You all support a system that decides what you like and what you love. Now remember that. You focus on the chart. We love great music. No, you don't. All right, so again, I've got the same. It's the same chart, same musicians, same songwriters, and then I've worked on Music Row with major hit artists, major hit songwriters, major producers. I've been there, done that. All right, so let me work my way on through here. Here's the biggest thing, and they knew that you wouldn't believe someone like me, because this week you had to have a Super Bowl and you had to have conservative artists, and then you had to have liberal artists, which shows you what? Division. And then it created chaos to the people who thought it was chaos. You were over here, oh, Kid Rock, Bad Bunny, Kid Rock, Kid Rock. You prove whichever side you're on, or even if you're in the middle, but you're still talking about one of them, you're captured and you're controlled. Now, there's an operation taking place that I show that everybody knows, obviously, 45-47 for all you newbies out there, all right, that are my #1 best-selling books as well. So they're a part 1, part 2 series. The Midnight Rider Rides Again on the 45-47. They're in their own category as well. Timestamp. No, they're the only books that talk about what I talk about. And I'm the creator of them. I'm the originator. I didn't regurgitate anything. This is all intellectual property. All my thought process, put it all together for you. Every aspect of country music and what's going on with government and military, which is bigger, but this is part of it. It all ties in. And when you read those definitions again and you really listen to this video over and over and over and over again, it's not difficult. I have broken down every aspect of the system and how it works. But you're captured and controlled. And I'm going to show you how you flip that and how you take the power back into your hands as the consumer, and then you flip it on them. That's what you want to do, is you want to reverse it. So it's a psychological manipulation where you want to reverse that. So it's called a counter psychological manipulation. You say, hey, you want to manipulate me? Hey, I don't have to manipulate you, but I can hurt you where it counts. I'll just do this, this, and this. And then you flip that. And it won't take long, but you have to sacrifice something. If you think you're a patriot, if you think you care, and if you have any spine, any backbone, any integrity, then you would see the bigger picture is that it's going to be a little bit of time of sacrifice for flipping it and bringing back real quality, real talent on both sides of the aisle, right? Meaning, all right, if it's country, or if there's a little bit in there, it's all right. You know, I like rock and roll, so I love rock and roll. So there's that. You know, I'm not saying it's just got to be hardcore, you know, twangy, whatever. I love that and personally think that that is real country music. But, you know, I love Hank Williams Jr. too, and he brings in a lot of rock and roll. So there's that. So they knew you wouldn't listen to someone like me. Even though I'm the first in country music history to do what I've done, I'm the first to tell the whole spiel from top to bottom. No other artist ever signed with any hits and or has never done this, ever. And they also knew that the people out there in the mainstream, not so much patriots, but the mainstream that I'm trying to really get to, which is why I'm talking the way I'm talking. I'm not talking to you, the patriots, a whole lot. I'm talking to the ones we need to get to. But that's why they'll trash me, shame, ridicule. I mean, you talking about some hate messages? You talking about some trash? Woo! I've received it, right? Which is fine. It's to be expected. No matter what they say, I still have Billboard hits. No matter what they say, it still works this way. No matter what they say, this is what's taking place. But see, they need to know that because that's what's going on with the Kid Rock thing and the executive order that President Trump signed. And then it's a bill, it's a different one, not the Hatch Act, but there was another bill that got signed for songwriters, and President Trump's been big on this. All right, so entertainment's being the topic right now. That's why all this is popping up. And I'm ahead of everything. But I'm ahead of everything because I was placed here on purpose. I was given all these records. I was given all this stuff and strategically put here for this very moment in time. And now you're seeing it. So I'm trying to connect the dots for you. So these people knew. They know. So they knew you wouldn't listen to me. That was their psychological manipulation all these years. If they ever thought someone would leave the industry, which it could have been someone bigger, but someone bigger wouldn't do it because they're all tied in. They're not going to rock the cradle. But they also knew you would trash me and ridicule and mock. They knew that because that's part of their control. But I'm the true underdog. I am the true iconoclast. I'm the true one. So it's the same thing with DC. So here's how this all ties in. Now watch this. So major record labels, you can't name them. You can't even tell who your favorite artist is signed by. You don't know the publishers. You don't know most of these artists don't even write their own songs. You don't know that there's 3 to 14 songwriters per song, each song, every album. You don't know there's a Billboard chart and a radio process that ties into the sponsors and the big money endorsements and sponsors that's behind all these artists before it gets to your downloads, before it gets to your streams. All that's going on before it ever gets to you. And then you're given this buffet of artists that you never heard before, but because it's a top 20 Billboard and it was on your top playlist and you're seeing them at concerts with your other favorite artists, got you. But you didn't discover that artist. In your mind, you discovered it because you had never heard them before. That's not discovery. That's not discovery at all. That's the capture and control. Here's your buffet. Here's your predetermined music list. You don't have to like so-and-so. You might like this so-and-so, but you don't have to like this so-and-so. You might like, but they're still in the same system. Given to you by the same people. That's the same labels they've always been all these years. So why is the barrier to entry? Why is it like it is? How come only these labels are the only ones that's been around? How come it's the only ones? So see, you support a system. You don't know the companies. You don't know the people. You don't know who they are, what they're doing, how it works, how it functions, how it operates. Hypocrisy much? Doesn't that sound like what you did with the swamp? Doesn't that sound like all of you who said, oh, that's what Congress gets paid to do. It'll just work itself out. Aren't you the same people who said that, but they'll turn, whine and complain about D.C., whine and complain about politicians, whine and complain about policy, whine and complain about certain things, but you can't even name the 3 branches of government? Hypocrisy much? Same thing. Same as that thing. So let me go back and let's read this one more time. Managed democracy. This is the most direct political application of illusion of choice. Now that you know what illusion of choice is, now apply this. In a managed democracy, the government holds regular elections. So that would be major record label holds all your artists. It has a constitution, which means a system, and maintains the appearance of a republic. So it will maintain the appearance that you discovered, the artists that you love. How it works. The state uses soft power to control the outcome before anyone even votes. So, there's your Billboard system. Before it, you downloaded it. Before you streamed it, it went through the Billboard system. It made this person bigger. Then it got to you. This includes controlling the media. Oh, there's your program directors. There you go. Disqualifying strong opposition candidates on technicalities. Me. Or using state resources to ensure the incumbent wins. Ooh, there's all your endorsers. There's your sponsors. There's your back table good old boy. Here you go down here. Give me this, slide this right here. We'll make sure he gets up here. Psychological effect. Citizens feel they have participated in a democratic process. So you feel like you did because you all of a sudden have a new artist and new music, and a song may say this about your mom or your daddy or whatever, and oh, I love this. So you feel like you participated which reduces the likelihood of a revolt, because you don't know about what I told you until you do know about it. So you don't revolt and do what you should do, even though the winner was decided long before the polls opened. So long before the song got on your playlist, long before it tickled your little fancy, it went through this system that I'm talking about, with major record labels who don't have competition, they're the same ones. Publishers, same thing. 3 to 14 songwriters on each song, every album. It's all prefabricated. No creativity, no anything, nothing. It's just cookie cutter, because they know they got you. They know you're not going to revolt because you don't want to. You're lazy, you're complacent, right? Well, I don't know, it's so big. How will we ever make an impact? Because it takes one. You ever try that? Start with one. That's just a managed democracy. If you go back and read all the others, inverted totalitarianism. It says right here how it works. Unlike classical, where a leader demands loyalty via fear, meaning using fear, inverted keeps the population passive, just appeased, right? Through consumerism, meaning you're the consumer, so you're purchasing, but you don't know what you're purchasing because you don't know the system. Endless entertainment. Oh, there's Morgan Wallen, 37 songs on an album. No more 10 like George Strait or Garth Brooks. Nope, 37. 40. Post Malone said, oh, we got a new album coming out. It's going to be 40-something songs. There's your 3 to 14 songwriters every single day, all day, every day, writing songs they never lived the life of. How can they? They're barely wet behind the ears. Look at how old they are. I don't even have to read the other one because you already. So if you've criticized one politician in a system you know nothing about, but support one major record label artist and share all their posts, especially Billboard chart, guess what you are? Hypocrite. You're a hypocrite, by definition. So the Alan Jackson Murder on Music Row. The song says, the almighty dollar and the lust for worldwide fame slowly kill tradition, and for that someone should hang. Woo! Larry Shell and Larry Cordell wrote that song. I know Larry Cordell. I know who Larry Shell is, but two Larrys wrote that. What are the odds of that? Alan Jackson, George Strait made a big statement with that, but it wasn't big for whom? You, the fan. Because you just thought, oh, they're talking about steel guitars and fiddles. No, Murder on Music Row. Music Row is the famous Music Row where everything went down all those years. Songwriters, publishing houses, and they were all in little tiny houses. They weren't in big buildings. And they've done destroyed all of Music Row. They've done torn down just about every iconic building that I've ever worked in and been in and out of. Even George Strait's publishing company is gone. I used to go in there all the time and write at George Strait's publishing company. Muy bueno. It's gone. The almighty dollar and the lust for worldwide fame slowly killed tradition, and for that someone should hang. Well, they all say not guilty, but the evidence will show murder's been committed down on Music Row. Woke DEI people who say country music is a story. Those are the people who have hijacked the system. And they have you captured by the illusion of choice, illusion of control, psychological manipulation, and it all ties into the deep state because of all these major record labels. When you go to a rodeo, when you go to a football game, basketball game, when you go to anything, that song you hear playing and that soundtrack, all part of their system. You could write the most awesome football song, the most awesome rodeo song. I have a song called Just La Do It. Garth Brooks has a brand he wears, Just La Do It. He's never written a song called Just La Do It. Why not? I wrote a perfect one. You think the rodeo plays it? No, they sure don't. They'll play some ghetto bullcrap rap before they'll play that, because why? I'm not in their System. I'm not in that major record label. System. It's not about the song, ladies and gentlemen. It's about a secret society who took control of the family genre and destroyed it on purpose. They did exactly what they were seeking. What does the Bible say? That the devil's out to what? He is out to steal, kill, destroy. This is why law puts things in a sequence or in certain terminology on purpose. The Bible that was God inspired, that was written on purpose that way. Steal, kill, destroy. The devil don't want to. Why would he kill something that ain't worth stealing? So see, it's got to be worth stealing first. Then he'll get in there and kill it and destroy it. And every one of you country music fans, you're part of it. There's no other way to slice that pie. You're part of it. Because you have never had any curiosity of, why do I keep supporting this? And where do these people come from? How does this process work? Same thing with DC. So you're in part to blame. You got to go in the mirror and be like, I'll let this happen. Own it. Take control of it. And say, how do I become a part of this? What can I do? That's what you got to do. Because the same thing happened in DC. You allowed it. Validation came this past week. I've had multiple validations that my people, my team's like, golly, it's just left and right. Because I'm the only one that's talked about it. The only, out of all the moving lips out there. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, that movie. Highly recommend watching it. President Trump just shared that this week. Jimmy Stewart, legendary actor, way back in the 1930s, was trying to show people via movie, because people were all of a sudden, movies were popular, and they were just now getting sound. They weren't in color yet, but they were growing. That industry was starting to grow, and he was trying to show people then that, hey, this is how DC works. Go watch a movie. The 30s. What's just now finally being drained? Legendary Brigadier General, retired as Brigadier General. Legendary James Stewart was trying to tell everybody in the 30s. 1939, John Wayne, real name Marion Morrison. All right, John Wayne, though, stage name. 1939, the movie Stagecoach. Guy in a business attire was in a stagecoach and they ride down. He said, what this country needs for president is a businessman. Way back in the 30s. So all of you out there demanding justice, you're lazy. You're a hypocrite. You don't want to know about prevention. You don't want to know how to prevent the swamp from growing. You don't want to prevent all the hypocrisy, the corruption. Oh no, you just want a quick solution, quick answer, and then you want the people who know what's going on to create the solution to prevent it. You don't want to be a part of that. That means you're lazy. That means you're complacent. That means you're a hypocrite. It means you're a bigot. It means you're every one of those if you take that stance. Country music is supposed to be about the song and the artist who's lived the life. What they're singing with passion and heart. Not smoke and lights and jumping around. Pure country. George Strait, his movie. Remember the scene where he said no smoke, no lights? You think anybody would buy that? And his grandma says, I sure would. Right? Well, there you go. And the lyrics are so watered down now. The music is so cookie cutter. And now it's going to more AI and digital. They're creating a lot of this digitally now. It's not real musicians. That's why when you listen to my music, anyone who says my music's trash, you're an idiot. You should be slapped to Tulsa and back. All right? Probably even further. But every single musician on my record, hit union musicians, quality, the top musicians in every slot have played on multiple number one hits when songs were really hit songs. Great songs. The best of the best. So all the major record labels would have to do, or the publishers would say, hey, all right, all of you major record label artists, no more songs being pitched to you. Write your own. No co-writers. Let's see what you got as a solo. Guess what would happen? Because it's not already there. None of it's already there. It's not even already there. You know why? Because they don't have to. Because fans, quote unquote fans. So the principle is this. Principle is now that one, me, has done what zero other artist or songwriter has ever done in the history of country music. On the top chart, their follow the money chart, who knows the chronological formula to the whole system with my team and my setup that proves it is not about talent whatsoever. You are the consumer at the end of the day. You do have the ultimate control. You just didn't maybe realize that. And if you are a good fan out there and you're a good person, then I'll apologize to you for calling, having to use the terms dumb and stupid and ignorant and lazy and complacent if you're someone who wants to take control. But if you don't, you're still in that category. There ain't no other way to slice the pie. Because, again, if you can listen to someone who is a true underdog that went in there with beat the system with peanuts, nowhere, we didn't even get even over 50 grand. Zach Top, $750,000. I can name many people who spent 500 grand who didn't even chart. $500,000. Go. Yeah. So you have zero excuses to trash something that you know nothing about. So straight out the gate, if someone sees this video and your instant reaction is, who are you? And I've never heard of you. And all, so you prove the point. You prove the point. Because I have the #1 best-selling books. I'd rather have #1 best-selling books, the first in their category, and no other book, and won't ever be. And if there ever is, it'll be years down the road, and mine will be time-stamped that I said it and knew it long before, and they're just regurgitating. See there? Creator, the originator, the OG, me, right? So there's that. I'd rather have that than I would songs any day, because songs are so... Yep, Morgan Wallen, 37 songs, 1 album. Post Malone, 40-something songs, whatever it's going to be. Songs are just come and go now. They're not there. And anybody who's ever written a song, it's hard to write a song. It's hard. It's hard. As I say, it's hard. It's easy for me to write because I love it. But it's hard to write a great song. Everything has to come together. The melody, the lyrics, everything. The idea, what you're saying, how you say it. It's not as easy as it looks. Or everybody would do it. Everybody would have a great song. But you have no excuses, and you shouldn't be mad at someone. You shouldn't be mad at someone who's an underdog, who beat the system really bad. And if you learn that, yep, it's $800,000 on average, and we only spent this amount, you'd be like, dang, that's awesome. Well, you should be more on the other side going, holy crap. And you should be holy crapping the whole thing going, oh my gosh, it works this way. I didn't know that. And then the way you prove it, again, Sammy Kershaw, or some of the writers I've written with. When you see me post a song, hey, I wrote this song with Jeffrey Steele. Hey, I wrote this song with Marty Dodson. Hey, I wrote this song with Emily Kroll. Hey, I wrote this song with... And then you go look them up and go, holy crap, he wrote this. I've written with Casey Beathard. Holy crap, he wrote #1 hits, Don't Blink, Kenny Chesney. Ooh, The Breath You Take, George Strait, #1. You should go, boom, validation. Because I have songs put out by that. There's no way I could claim these people if I didn't write with them. That wouldn't happen either. They'd be like, dude, what are you doing putting my name on this thing? I didn't write with you on that. That wouldn't happen. So when you see my name and I show all this, that shows you that I've been there, done that, but I'm the first to do what I've done and doing what I'm doing. And therefore, because I'm all of those and all of those entities that go together, then the #1 best-selling book that shows you that this is one, how you're captured and controlled, But here's what you're captured and controlled by. Those three forms of quote-unquote government that you heard, and then the illusion of choice and illusion of control, manipulated psychology, right? Psychological manipulation. It is deep state all the way. Swamp, it's the same thing, but that's their entertainment form. And then they have layers of entertainment. They have sports, right? They have all these things that they all tie in. And we're just now getting to those. That's why Kid Rock and all this Bad Bunny and the first time ever we had 2 Super Bowl halftime. All this is on purpose. It's the line in the sand. Pick your side of the line, right? Well, all this has already been predetermined, right, on that portion, because this is part of the 45-47 draining the swamp, and this is the portion that we're just now to. We've already been through the worst. That shows you we're at entertainment now. So we've been through the worst. But you should know that. You should want to know that. And then you should go instantly unfollow all these artists. You should unfollow all of them, especially the ones I called out. You should unfollow them. Like, oh, they're a hypocrite. Why would you want to follow someone and support someone who said, oh, labels F you over? Then he went and signed with one of them. That's a hypocrite. Rich man north of Richmond. Uncle's a rich attorney who owns half of my stuff. Maybe all of it. Who knows? His name's on the USPTO. He's the attorney to contact. He's the attorney who had worked with artists. He didn't come out of nowhere. Come on, people. You have control. And if you would listen and appreciate and know how to take action, kind of like those young artists that we're talking about, that been trying to reach out to, their managers out there. Oh, I'm a manager. You've been to Nashville twice? Get out of here. Like, if you would appreciate someone who's telling you everything without charging you a consulting fee and all these other bullcrap things they do in Nashville, there are people in Nashville who call themselves consultants. And they're with whom? Attorney firms. Whew. Hear that? See how that ties in? And not all lawyers are bad, but yeah. So see, a consulting fee. So you have the power as a consumer to unfollow these people, unsubscribe from them, stop streaming their music. Find people like me. And then, hey, like Jeffrey Steele put out a song, President Trump Truth about it, and I put that out, said, hey, I've written with Jeffrey Steele, wrote a song called One of Those with him. He's a big patriot. All right, I know him very well. He texts me all the time. A big patriot. He's a Hall of Fame songwriter. Hall of Famer. Sometimes you got to be dead before you even get a nomination for that. He's a Hall of Famer. Big. He's written some massive hits you've heard. And great songs. My Wish for You. You want to know the real story on that? He wrote this song for his son's high school graduation, performed it. Rascal Flatts only recorded it after they heard what happened. About a week after his son graduates, he was killed. So see, if you would get into the authenticity of the song, but from writers who are less writers, meaning like only 1 or 2 in a room, right? Not 14. And then listen to the lyrics, the quality of lyrics, the double and triple meanings. So it shows you what people are into out there. Poetry. You don't even read poetry anymore. You're all into TV and you're all into Netflix and all these things that are just quick and it's not reality, but they call it that. They have dummied down your thinking. They've dummied down your intellect. They've dummied down every aspect of your life and every entity. That you have no appreciation for lyrics. You have no appreciation for the quality of lyrics, the quality of music. And that's why we have people out there, these young artists. Well, I got a manager. You don't need a manager. I've had Billboard hits, and I don't have a manager for that. I have a manager for other things, but not that. I didn't need a manager for that. Come on, people. Like, once you see that, okay, yeah, there he is on the chart on Sammy Kershaw's page. Sammy Kershaw, She's the queen of my double wide trailer with the polyester curtains and the, so all that, you know. Sammy Kershaw, you see, oh, Sammy posted the chart. There's Sammy, and there's Derek right above Sammy on the chart. Bingo. Boom. Game over. Validation. There it is. There's the billboard over on Sammy Kershaw's page. So you don't even have to see the other billboard that I was on, right? My other hit song, because he wasn't on that one. He didn't chart on that one. So I have it. I have it via my emails and all of our reports and our Nielsen data. Nielsen data. There's a big one out there. Nielsen data. My song Right Beer Right Now that I wrote, I co-wrote it, but I wrote that one of my billboards with Nielsen data had us projected in the top 25. But we didn't have the money to get there because we couldn't compete with the major record labels. They kept pushing us back, pushing us back. You got to spend money to get right back where you were. So if you got $800,000 and you spend $100,000 to get to top 40, all right, and they push you back to number 60, then you got to spend $100,000 more to get back to that. Now we didn't do that. We didn't spend that kind of money. But the average has to do that. And then the average, like Zach Top, would have spent a year on the chart. The major record labels, shoot, they got number one hits now in a week. It used to be a big deal to be, oh, this song was 8 weeks at number one. Oh, that's a record. Right? Now they go up there like that. That's why they're bragging on, oh, a certain songwriter, he has more number one hits now. Yeah, because it's all cookie cutter. And the system changed. It's not the old system where it was harder to write a song and they wrote more quality songs. They have you captured and controlled. So again, learn the who and what you support on the front, and that prevents anything from getting. So if you're in my comment box after this video is posted and you're negative, hateful, or anything, guess what? You still prove the point. You still prove the point. You actually prove it more than even the good comments most of the time. Because, again, no matter what you say, no matter what it is, I'm the iconoclast. I'm the first ever in country music history to unveil every aspect of what you support is rigged, it's DEI, it's woke, it's garbage, because you're capturing and control. So no matter what you say, the worse it is, the worse of a reaction, you prove the point. And I'm going to go right in my bedroom right over here, and I'm going to bundle up like a little baby, and I'm going to sleep just like that. And I'm going to laugh my ass off right on into the bedroom, right? And I'm going to sleep like a baby because of you being so butthurt that you can't separate that. I'm not talking about your favorite artist. I'm showing you how your favorite became your favorite in a zero authenticity, a zero integrity, zero all those systems. It's rigged. It's predetermined. And you just sit there and hook, line, sinker think that you're part of it, and you're not. The only part you're doing is giving them your money with your low IQ. So that goes to the comment, why would I be jealous? I have Billboard hits. I beat the system. Bad. I came out the first unsigned artist, independent artist in country music history to have every secret, like this screen, like from corner to corner, top to bottom, front to back, backwards, everywhere. I have every secret that every singer, songwriter, especially unsigned, needs to know. I have it. I have every aspect. There's not anything in country music that you can throw at me that I don't know, because it's a simple thing. And here it is. Got it. And the way you beat it as an artist and a songwriter is to take their blueprint, their formula, and mimic that. But you're not going to be able to get those musicians until you know someone like me, because they're not going to get in the room with you either. All right? They're about loyalty, but in another kind of way. All right? So I'm the first ever. It's time-stamped in history. And then the ones who say out there you're a sore loser. How am I a sore loser? Let me just explain what a sore loser is for all the low IQs. All right? If I'm a sore loser, then you're low IQ. All right? That's how that works. If you want to go with that, well, then you're low IQ. A sore loser is someone who loses in a fair match. So let's look at someone in history, John McEnroe. All of you tennis fans out there, remember John McEnroe? The ball would hit on the line, in the line, outside the line, whatever. And he would yell, scream, throw his racket, yell, go up there, just create this like ruckus, right? When you saw it, and then they had the replay, and they're like, it was out of line. And he could see it, but he lost. And he didn't want to lose because he was great when he was great, but he didn't want to lose, right, to someone that was lower than him or whatever, you know. So that's a sore loser. A sore loser is not somebody who goes in the system, plays that system, all right, with peanuts to their millions. We were under 50 grand with Billboard hits, and it cost on average $800,000. So there's that one thing. Then we didn't spend as long as some artists do. All right, so there's that. And then also I come out with the formula, meaning I have every little tick all the way from the bottom to the top. Because I've worked in publishing, I've worked in marketing, I've worked in booking, I've worked in production, I've worked in all the aspects of country music. So I knew the business side, and then when I went up as an artist-songwriter, boom, full circle, 360, know it all, know that whole system. So I'm the first artist to blow up on social media after all that. After being told all these excuses, after being told all these things, all this hypocritical, and then I write the book, and it goes #1 bestseller, and I have Billboard hits, Texas country hits as well as a writer. All right. How am I a sore loser? Am I a sore loser? How would that make a sore loser? It's like, that is so hilarious. That is so, that's one that takes the cake. All right. So no matter your hypocrisy and your ignorance, the facts still remain, and they're time-stamped in history. You're still a hypocrite, and you're looking ignorant if you're still doing that. So follow the money, read those definitions again, and support real country music artists, which means boycott the labels. That means you got to go back and find Wade Hayes, Paul Brandt, Rich Trevino, go back and find some of the 90s country guys. There's still Tracy Lawrence out there. He's still on the road a lot. Tracy Bird's on the road a lot. But there's still some young ones out there. I'd highly recommend looking at the Texas regional charts and then finding some of the hardcore Texas out there because mainstream ain't there. And I wouldn't support mainstream anyway until I know that the major record labels are cleaned out, because everybody in every label right now are the same people that were there when I was there 10, 15 years ago. They've just shuffled around a little bit, and one that was an assistant is now the head, but they're the same people. Same people. And they ain't changed. All right, but this whole thing is opening those cans. So all this Kid Rock and Bad Bunny and all these other things, Kid and the Cody Jonhson, all this stuff is bringing it full circle. All right, what you saw at the Grammys, them getting up there talking about ICE and all these things. I mean, again, it goes back to what all of you used to. A lot of you fans, you say, "Oh, you need to stick to what you do and don't bring this in." Well, either you do or you don't. You either like them talking about politics or you don't. There's another hypocritical principle. Either you do or you don't. You can't go, "Oh, I love it when so-and-so says this about President Trump. I love him." And then someone over here says something bad about him. Well, if this person was a Republican who said something good, then you're trashing the one that's supposed to sound like the You got to pick. And that's where that old saying is, you're slicing hairs now. You got to pick. You sound like a hypocrite yourself. All right, so everything has a principle. Everything in life has a principle. What President Trump is doing, what the military's been doing, what we've all been doing, all that aspect on this portion is bringing things back to simplicity. As he said in 2020, the cure cannot be bigger than the problem. Same thing. So the solution, the resolution, whatever word you want to throw in there, the resolution, the solution, it can't be bigger than the problem. But we got to identify the problem first. Well, the problem is, you, the fan in country music, you have no idea that there's a system, there's an industry, who they are, how they operate, etc. So you need to identify that first. And when you identify that and you go, holy crap, either you say, oh, it was that big, I didn't realize it, and it was that system, I didn't realize it, it was this format, I didn't realize it, it was up. And if you realize one portion but you didn't know the other, then you take all that, you identify the problem, you take all that and say, okay, how can I contribute? What can we do to flip this? What can we do to get control of this again? Well, you're already in control because you're the consumer. What you need to do is learn who the major record labels are, learn who the publishers are, and they're hard to find, some of them, but find their emails, find their phone numbers, and blow them up. Because they think you don't know them because you don't. That's why they're so secret society. That's why when you're in Nashville and you know where one of the offices is, and you go up to the door and you ring the doorbell, you might get an assistant go, do you have a meeting? No, I'm just a fan, blah, 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 blah. They're gonna tell you, we don't take guests like that. But see, most fans don't know where they are. Most fans don't even do stuff like that. So there's that big thing. So you want to take control, learn the major record labels, learn the publishers, and blow them up and demand quality. Demand what you want as a consumer. So simple. But that is exactly how country music ties in. That is from top to bottom. It's a rigged monopoly conglomerate that predetermines what your buffet, what you're going to listen to. You have no say-so in their process. You have full say-so as consumer, but you didn't know how they operate, how they function, and what you've been supporting. So you got to hear that very clear. You are the consumer. You do have power and control, but they've been determining that for you. And that is how the deep state did it. That is how the swamp did it. They predetermined everything. They wrote the laws. They passed the laws. You didn't have any say-so, and you're supposed to. They predetermined all that for you. Then they pinned you against each other, and you're arguing things that are pointless. So what, you like this artist more than this one? That's what they want you to do. It has nothing to do with the system whatsoever. So your chaos plus division equals power acquisition. You want to flip that power. You want to take control of that power, bring the power back to you, the people, and go, no more. No more your DEI, no more your woke trash, no more this, no more your manipulation, your gaslighting, etc. No more. So what you got to do is you got to boycott these people. You got to boycott these artists. You got to boycott them. Straight up. It won't take long. You got enough 90s, 80s, 70s, country and rock to listen to. Stop going to the concerts. Stop supporting them. Stop buying the drinks. Stop buying the merchandise. Stop. That's how you take control. And if it's about music, then let it be about music. But if you say what the fans, oh, you focus on the chart too much, we love great music. You only know those artists because you were told to like them. You were told, you were given the buffet. And that's exactly how country music works. That's how it ties in. And that's also why there's not many viewers on this, as I knew it wouldn't be, because country music fans are lazy, complacent, and they really don't care at the end of the day. So why should I? Because I love it. It is what I do. It is my life, and I am the real deal, and history will show that.